fed, mama. Pick up your passies. Pick up your passies, mama, and then go night-night. Bedtime. Yo, how's it going, guys? Oh man, happy Friday. Welcome. My name is Vladis. It is Friday, 7:30 Central. And wow, what a day, right? Tons of information that I couldn't really listen to that much. Just so you guys know, my little girl has been sick today. And it was me tuning into the live stream, and I was seeing some stuff. I heard some stuff, but I was really mostly just taking care of her and also the baby. So I really got a chance to listen to, like, I'm probably gonna have to watch all of it. Now, I'm not gonna probably watch all of it in this live stream. We'll see. It depends on how juicy some of the information is. But from what I was hearing on the Harbinger stuff, that was, like, I think the biggest information dump that I was able to actually listen to for a little bit. That seemed really cool. I'm actually, you can see our work in the Discord. In which Discord? The archetype or what? I'm sure there's, like, let's see. Sports fishing? See, as someone who didn't play Arcade, like, I have no idea how that's going to be, but from someone play, was it pro bass fishing on PlayStation? I hope if it's anything like that. I mean, I don't think it is, but I mean, man, it was just a lot of fun to play that. But we'll see. People are expecting Arcade. I've heard that being thrown around a lot. They're hoping that it's going to be similar to Arcade, or at least like a 1-to-1 of Arcade, at least at the minimum. Which I would say, you know, let's try to hit that benchmark. You know what I mean? We'll see what happens. Some of the stuff that I heard sounds weird. Interesting is probably not the word. It's weird. But maybe there's a reasoning for it. I don't know. Like, if I heard them correctly, they said once you are sport fishing and it's a really big fish, it dies, and then you have to hop in the water to actually retrieve it. Like, did I hear that, or am I just hallucinating? Utilizing the crate system and vassals for the fishing seems super cool. I mean, yeah, I'm down to see, like, what it's all about. Yes. Yeah. It just, but what's the point of the lure, right? Like, you caught the fish. Like, why would you have to jump in the water to go and get it? Like, even actual deep sea fishermen don't have to do that. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know if it's just like a game reason or what reason it is, but it seems silly. It just seems silly. And people like to throw realism around in Ashes all the time, right? And we talked about the whole gathering thing with mining. So I don't know. To me, it just seemed kind of silly. But I really want to see the summoner stuff. Where was that? It was like in the beginning, if I'm correct, right? Yeah. Because I missed pretty much the entire conversation in the beginning. Is there anything in the beginning before they start talking about summoner that I need to listen to, or was it all just sort of like negligible? Yeah, summoner hype. I'm dude, I played a warlock I mained a warlock for like 5 expansions. So I mained hunter, which is another pet class, for I'm gonna say 14 years, but 11 years, because I mained it from 2005 till Warlords, the last raid before Legion, because Legion came and ruined survival. So then I quit playing hunter. Let me see. Summoner after disclaimers. The video is short, but if you slow down, you see most of it. All right. Let's do that, because I really want to. So again, there's really nothing. There's nothing prior. Oh, wait a minute. There's chat box. There am I. There's nothing prior that's like super important that I need to listen to before they start the summoner stuff. Summoner has healing, shields, taunt, DPS, a big bomb, and dots. You can skip the highlight. Skip the highlight and then no more reminders and so okay.
Summoners entail and what we were trying to achieve from a feeling, from a class fantasy perspective with this archetype. And I think the team has done a phenomenal job in hitting that mark on its initial.
They did a phenomenal job with the rogue,
so very excited for you guys to get your hands on it and break all the things so that we can go back and fix all the things. But yeah, enjoy this early teaser, what you will soon be experiencing on the PTR come September 30th.
And don't come at me. I tried to be less robot, okay? I'm not an AI.
Wait, did they say September 30th? What happened to August 7th or October 7th? Did they bump it? Did I hear that right?
Utilizes primarily a pet as your primary combatant. So this is important. I think a lot of us know what summoners entail and what we were trying to achieve from a feeling, from a class fantasy perspective with this archetype. And I think the team has done a phenomenal job in hitting that mark on its initial debut. So very excited for you guys to get your hands on it and break all the things so that we can go back and fix all the things. But yeah, enjoy this early teaser, what you will soon be experiencing on the PTR come September 30th.
And don't come at me. I tried to be less robot, okay?
Wow.
I'm not an AI, okay?
I missed that completely.
Everyone always says my VO is AI.
This coming Tuesday.
Enjoy.
Wow. So they're releasing it with the, no, not the 0.16, because that's going to go to live, but on the PTR on the 6th, or on Tuesday. Yeah, PTR.
Hello, glorious adventurer. Today we are taking our first look at the summoner archetype in Ashes of Creation. Keep in mind, Alpha 2 is in an early testing phase, and everything you see here is subject to change.
Yeah, that thing looks awesome.
The summoner is all about commanding powerful spirit.
So here's my thing with this pet. Sorry, I'm pausing it already. My thing with this pet right here. If I turn Necromancer, because I'm assuming this is the tanking pet, right? Because it dual shields. If this can transform into a graveyard golem, I will main this class. 1000% I will main this class.
The summoner is all about commanding powerful spirit companions to fight by your side. The guardian is your stalwart defender,
dude, it looks so good.
In holding threats, soaking up damage, and disrupting enemy positions. Its key ability is Stomp, which deals AoE damage and generates high threat on everything it hits. This
literally reminds me kind of like the gorillas, like as a hunter, because in WoW, like gorillas had to stomp, you know. It's good. I mean, hey, like in WoW, you had healing pets like that were cunning. You had Furiosity that were DPS, and then you had Tenacity, which were like the tanking pets, you know. So this is literally the same thing. So if you're a WoW player, this is very reminiscent of WoW pets. Give me 1 second. My daughter's up. My wife is also done. She just wants to lay down with the baby and not do anything. So I'm taking care of the little one. So give me 1 second. I'm going to put her back in her bed. Okay. Sorry about that.
Is your striker, dishing out damage at both range and melee. Its key ability, Eviscerate, is a brutal single target strike that hits even harder if you position yourself behind the target. And finally, the Mystic, your magical support vessel. It can heal, shield, and provide AoE damage from range. Its key ability, Recreate, heals an ally and can even become a group heal under special conditions.
Wow.
The summoner uses a special resource called Essence.
Oh.
Essence is generated passively through your weapon combos and from your vessel's basic attacks. You'll spend Essence to command your vessel to
You see, I'm kind of nervous about this right here. Like, if you notice, there's a lot of buttons that I'm assuming are like pet commands. I really want a pet bar. Like, and again, I don't know how many abilities the summoner will have at level 25. I mean, this is level 25 here, but I you know, I like to have my mounts, and, you know, I'm sure many of you have already a bunch of stuff here. I don't know if they're going to be able to have the functionality. I hope they update the UI too. Yeah, I hope so too, because it's PTR, right? Like, I'm going to give them a break, but I hope that in November we have a separate pet bar. That's all I'm saying. Like, I hope by September, or I hope by November, we have a separate pet bar.
unleash powerful abilities. The Summoner's Kit combines damage over time, area damage, and resource management. Start by applying Spirit Shred, a single
As someone who hasn't played Cleric too much, I mean, it does, because of all the pet stuff, look more yellow, but that makes sense to me because the pets are a bright yellow. They're like gold. So I don't see it being an issue. A lot of it's actually very, very different color oriented, which I like. Maybe I don't know if the wiki has a lot of the summoner abilities already posted, or even if Ash's Codex has the summoner talent tree that I can look at. But so far, like dots, hexes, AoE, like pets, like this is all like screaming Vladis, like play this class, dude. Because like I said, I loved Hunter. I mean, I mained 2 major pet classes in WoW for a long time. So I'm very much a fan of this stuff. If the rotation, if managing pets is also good too, and even if they're not so good, I mean, hell, I managed BM Hunter in WoW for a while, and it was a mess in like in Cataclysm. It was a mess in Wrath. There were certain raid bosses that you just couldn't even DPS if you were you know, a BM Hunter. So
The Summoner's Kit combines damage over time, area damage, and resource management. Start by applying Spirit Shred, a single target damage over time spell that
Spirit
also
Shred.
generates essence.
Dot. Hold on real quick. I just want to we will see Steven announce the beta in 2026 and launch in 2027, and probably Castle and Underrealm system will come in the form of expansions, including new biomes, 40k players, $15 a month, 7.2 million per year. I 7 million is not enough to support Intrepid. It isn't. If you look at just what their yearly yield is, basically, like what they would, like if you were to break down, like go to ChatGPT, go to any AI, list 250 developers, you know, in the where are they at, in the San Diego, California area, you know, building, you know, all that, it's anywhere between 70 to $100 million per year, with salaries, with building, health insurance, just all the stuff. They need to make more money. You know what I mean? Like there needs to be hundreds of thousands of people playing this game worldwide, like if not millions, which I personally believe worldwide we can actually achieve millions. Millions of people played Arcade, millions of people played Lineage 2. I know here in the States, not so much, but I know in other places, like I said, Germany, Brazil, there are plenty of other places that really enjoy the PVX design. So I truly hope that they can actually have it in the millions.
Followed up with Mortal Blast, a powerful AoE that spreads Spirit Shred to nearby enemies for maximum efficiency. Use Hex to place a ticking debuff on enemies. Every action that shortens its timer brings you closer to a big damage detonation that resets its cooldown. When you need to sustain yourself, spend Essence on Extract Vessel to transfer health from your active vessel to you, or Siphon Vessel to pull mana instead, keeping you in the fight longer without needing to stop and rest.
That's literally life tap for a Warlock. So instead of like you life tapping on yourself to gain mana, you're actually taking it from your pet, which is so much better. Like, I love that. Oh my God. Because mana is such a huge issue. You know, that's why people always want bards. But dude, that is really great self-sustaining ability right there.
Whether you prefer tanking with the Guardian, striking from the shadows with the Hunter, or supporting your team with the Mystic.
See, Arcage is not a good example here. Arcage was free to play. Well, Lineage 2 wasn't free to play, was it? If I'm not mistaken. Tank main here since 1999. I'm kind of sad with the Tank and Ashes. Are they going to revamp it? You think? No, 100% they're going to revamp it. So after they release the Summoner, this was already stated by Steven, once all the classes are out, what they're going to do is they're going to start, of course, doing some monitoring, of course, on the Summoner, right? Make sure bugs, make sure all the things are working correctly. If certain things aren't working, certain abilities aren't working, I'm sure they'll attend to them. But the next major focus for the class and the combat team is going to be revamping older classes. This is the tank. This is going to be the cleric. This is going to be the ranger. This is going to be the mage. This is going to be the fighter. They're going to go back and literally see like, what are certain abilities? What are certain things that aren't working after? Because there's been so much feedback. I mean, I did a whole series called the Roundtable Discussions where I brought in 3 to 4 people discussing each class of Ashes of Creation pretty in depth, asking probably over 15 to 20 questions per episode. And there's been literally forum posts. There's been Reddits. There's been people going into the archetype Discord hashtag and leaving a bunch of stuff on their classes. They have a shit ton of feedback by now. So yeah, that's going to be the next major focus after the Summoner is released, is they're going to go back and look at some of the other class design, and then also give us eventually, probably not in the 0.16 update, which is, or the 0.17 update, which is probably going to be the Harbingers update, right? So right now we got 0.16. In November, we're going to get 0.17, which is that next push. 0.18, I'm assuming, is going to be the next milestone, which is probably going to be the tank and cleric secondary archetypes. So once we get those, then all of the base classes can augment with either tank or cleric augments at 25. That's what I think is going to happen. So it's, you know, like we're kind of in for it. And again, like, I know people are saying, you know, beta is going to be released in 2026 and stuff like that. I really, like I said, like, I'm on the docket to talk to Steven, hopefully by the end of the year, if it's not pushed out. I'm saving a lot of my questions in regards to beta, in regards to releasing this game unfinished from a, you know, paper design perspective that we've been following since 2017. So I really don't want to jump the gun here. But I would hope that they are going to finish the paper design before actually releasing the game. But I also am not an idiot, and I understand that Steven isn't made of money. And if I'm suspecting just by, you know, AI $70 to $100 million to sustain their studio, I really, you know, like, I don't know, like, what kind of financial, you know, pressure they must be under, right? Let me see, that 1007 was not from Disintegrate. It was from the detonation / hex. We are not sure which is the ability and which is the sub effect. Oh, okay. Let me see. I really don't want them to release soon and then add the rest of the features. Yeah, I'm right there with you, dude. Like, I've always stated that, you know, that's why I always told people this game was years away, because I was always under the assumption, because Steven always said that they were going to release the game when, you know, everything was going to be ready, right? Like we're talking Underrealm, we're talking Tolnar, we're talking, you know, Naval, we're talking all 64 archetypes, we're talking the full node system, you know, 2 continents, like, you know what I'm trying to say? Like, it was always under that impression, you know, but there was always like certain things that were kind of spoken within the community of like, well, they don't need to add like the stock exchange, right? Like there was like certain little things that I could have been okay with that they pushed to like a patch after the launch or even an expansion after the launch. But I was always under the assumption that everything that was in the original paper design was going to be made and ready for launch, not we're going to cut that design in half and then, you know, and again, this is why I always said of how big this project was, you know what I mean? This is how big Ashes is, you know, it's literally a basic MMO plus like 5 expansions worth of other stuff in other systems. It's insane. So if you're going to have a Steven interview, please ask him about how the game seems to be losing a lot of dynamic stuff that was originally in the Kickstarter. Yeah, I mean, and again, like we haven't really seen a dynamic world event. That's why when I was hearing them talk about the Harbingers, that got me really excited, because this story arc seems to be, at least from what they were saying, a very dynamic event that we have control, whether win or lose. Like there's going to be risks, you know, in losing, but there's going to be rewards in winning. You know what I mean? And I've been waiting to see that. Now, I wasn't really sure of what story arcs were going to be. Because I thought that was more of a player narrative, but it seems like it's more of a server narrative that happens. So it's not like a particular quest that you get on and then starts the story arc. It's like once something triggers, the server is now on this thing. You know what I'm trying to say? Like it's not an individualized story that your character will experience. It's literally a whole server experience, which that is going to be kind of crazy. I'm loving that, but I'm also kind of like, well, as someone who enjoys PvE, like, is there going to be like a PvE narrative too? Like, is there going to be quests and stuff? Because I feel like the current quest design in Ashes right now it isn't really fun. You know what I'm trying to say? Like, I don't really have fun questing in Ashes. But to be totally transparent and fair with you, I didn't have fun questing in a vanilla WoW either. Like I didn't. The quests in WoW were boring and plain as shit to me. So if Ashes of Creation is going to have that kind of questing system, like I'll take it, because hey, I've done it many times. Like to be totally honest with you, I don't even think retail WoW has good questing. It's still very uninspired and to me just not fun. Let me see. I don't mind the quest, but I'm someone who likes to fetch quests, so don't ask me. Yeah, I again, I don't mind certain bits of quests, but there's some quests that, of course, that are more annoying than others. You know, like I'm not a fan of like fill up the bar quests. Like, oh, you got this thing, now it's at 16%. You got to fill it up to 100 to complete it. You know, like I'm also not a fan of like quests that like, oh, you need like, you know, 17 wolf ears. But when I kill a wolf, I don't get an ear. I kill 5 wolves, I get 1 ear. You know what I mean? Like I hate quests like that too. Like it's just like, oh, because it's like they're just designed to just waste your time. That's it. It's just literally designed to elongate your time experience playing the game. Let me see. They can get into that in the bit later in the video. Okay, hold on. Let me just keep watching. Sorry.
The Summoner offers a flexible, commanding playstyle. Explore this archetype and many more on Vera now. Don't forget to /bug any issues you encounter and leave the team your feedback and thoughts over at forums.ashesofcreation.com.
Well, that was kind of like a mini one. I feel like the Rogue one was a little bit longer.
Seems like people liked it so far. I saw someone say Rogue's dead, Summoner's new.
Oh no, I'm waiting for the entire server now to roll Summoner.
Oh yeah, every time we do an update with something, everyone's playing it. So
yes, because you never release the classes like on a major update along with the server release. That's why everybody plays it, because most people are level 25. So of course they're going to re-roll a new class, and then you have a whole like new wave of like, and that's kind of like what I'm hoping, because I think right now I'm level 17 on my ranger, which you guys know me, I get shit on all the time. They're like, Vlad, I don't take anything you say seriously because you haven't once leveled 25 in a single phase. So how could I take anything you say with a grain of salt? You don't know what you're talking about, yada, yada, yada. And of course, if that's your opinion, like, that's fine. I'm not forcing anybody to listen to my opinion. Like, you don't think I'm good enough for an opinion because I haven't hit an arbitrary level cap? That's cool. Like, I don't care. Like I said, I play these phases a lot. When people quit after they all are to level 25 and geared and they go play another game, guess who's still playing? Me. So I do that because I know myself and I don't want to burn out. So like I said, me hitting some arbitrary level cap in an alpha that's gonna be wiped, it's like I don't personally see the hooray in that personally. Well, I only semi quit at 24. There's it'll be interesting to see how the split, how many folks will try to clear versus spawn incursions. We'll have to see. I mean, let me see. Did they say anything else about the summoner?
8 summoners in one group, but
that's gonna happen.
Different playstyles, so you could have one being the tank, kind of, and try it. I don't know how successful it'll be, but we'll see. Obviously, we are going to have a dev discussion up for summoner. Let us know which vessel stood out the most to you. Which one did you like the most? Did the summoner's gameplay look fun or confusing to follow? Was it clear what the vessels were doing during combat? And did any ability or moment make you want to try the summoner? As well as, based on what you saw, would you play this archetype? So kind of let us know what you're thinking, what your thoughts are. And obviously, those of you on PTR are going to get your hands on this. Do note PTR is under visual NDA, so you will.
So a couple of things for the Necromancer, Stephen. Graveyard Golem for the tank. Do a Reaper for the DPS. Do like almost like that guy from Overwatch that has the 2 guns. He's like, is his name Reaper? Like something like that, but like more, I would love like 2 sickles. Wouldn't that be so sick? Like a floating skeleton with like a hood over it with like 2 sickles, and they're just like, and then for like the healer caster in the back kind of person, you can have just like a robed skeleton kind of thing with like a staff or something. Like that would be so sick. Like oh my God, I'd love that.
Will not be able to share any visuals of that, but you can talk about your experience. So that is okay.
And I do want to comment, like, remember that this is our base archetype system. So long-term intent and what we are continuing to develop against is that you can combine your base archetypes together to create one of 64 classes. In the summoner's case, this is going to be very influential. Some of those class combinations will determine the visual appearance of your summon. So, those summons will conform to thematically relevant class fantasies of those class names. So right now, what you're seeing with these summon types is essentially
what up, Phantom bro?
These pets that reflect a more neutral, kind of unformed, purely essence originating, spirits. And
does anybody know if there were any abilities that actually summon temporary summons? Or was every ability either just something that the summoner did or an ability that you had to activate for the main summon? Like, I would assume there probably isn't anything yet because they don't want, again, if there are 8 summoners and everyone has a pet and then you can summon other temporary pets, that's going to look crazy. And again, I've showed screenshots or I've showed little video clips of like World of Warcraft, like especially with the Warlock. The Warlock can have almost like, Jesus, all of our imps, our Felguard, our Void, like there's like 22 minions that you can have out at a time for demonology. It's crazy. So I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. No temporary pets from that video. Did you play Guild Wars 1? No, I did not play Guild Wars 1. I haven't even played Guild Wars 2 that much either. I think I only got up to like a level 30. and I played like the generic warrior class in Guild Wars 2. So I can't really speak on Guild Wars. Guild Wars 1 Necromancer was so OP. Dude, again, anytime I play an ARPG, which right now I play like Last Epoch, or when I play Diablo, I always gravitate towards Necromancer. Like I love Necromancer. And so of course we know Necromancer is going to be one of the archetypes that the summoner is going to be able to transform into. I think with the cleric. So you can be a summoner cleric and then be a Necromancer. So I really hope that they do some really cool stuff with that. But if there isn't any base abilities that have any temporary summons, like raise the dead or something like that, like, I don't know, we'll have to wait and see, right? Like there always could be stuff that could be added later. Also an interesting point they talked about, they said positioning the DPS summon behind a target was more effective. Does this mean they will give you a good way to make granular summon movements? That's a good point, because there were some parts in the summoner where it almost seemed like you can position the pet. So almost like a reticle you can put on, and the pet will move to that reticle. I could be wrong. Like I said, I haven't played the summoner, but I mean, it just seemed that there was a bunch of like arrows and things like that. Like, I would assume that, I mean, a very easy way to do it from like a design perspective or from like an engineering perspective is just have the DPS summon always try to go behind the if the DPS summon has aggro, of course he can't go behind. But if the DPS summon doesn't have aggro, like the coding should just have it to where it goes directly in back of the mob, right? That would be the easiest way. That way it takes away that skill off of us, and we can just concentrate on our abilities and our positioning and what we're going to do. But I can tell you right now, if it's going to get that granular to, I have to worry about my positioning, and I also have to worry about where my summon is positioned, because the game doesn't really do it that well. I have to be the one to do it. That's going to get very annoying. Like, I can tell you that right this second, because it was like that shit in vanilla WoW. So I really don't want to have to deal with that. So I hope, and again, this is all feedback that we're going to have to give them. We're going to have to test, but I can tell you it's going to get very messy very quickly.
And then as you define that class further through the combination, you will get more class fantasy specific summon pets.
Exciting. And I know y'all will have questions about it, so just feel free to send them our way. We'll get them.
Yeah, cheese. 100% agree.
And with that, we're going to switch over to our next segment, which is a big one. This is going to be the one that we're going to stick around for quite a bit here. It's a pretty large, system.
I don't like macromanaging.
So we're going to talk about the
like
Harbinger system design, which is going to be our first foray into the big story
I listened
arc.
to a good.
Yes.
We do. Dude, I did. This was so cool. Oh my God. Because I was looking, because Mother was crying, like we're trying to feed her and everything like that. But man, I don't know what this is, and I don't know why there's like a human here. Wouldn't this be crazy if this was like a monster coin system within the Harbingers event, where a player can actually be one of 3 different Harbingers? So if you have like a uncommon, monster coin, you transform into this. If you have a rare, or heroic version, you can turn into this. If you have epic or legendary coin, you can transform into this thing. Dude, wouldn't that be sick? Oh my God. I don't know if that is the case or why they have it. Maybe the other reason why I think there's a human here too is just for scale, right? So just so us, the players, know, oh, I know how tall someone is in game, but they're just showing you like how big these things are going to be. The reason why I like this one specifically and this one, because it literally reminds me of Steppenwolf from Zack Snyder's Justice League. Like I love Zack Snyder's Justice League. So this kind of gives me that Steppenwolf vibe. It looks so good. Some of these, dude, some of the imagery, dude, looks so good. I'm going to have to probably rewatch. But the thumbnail of this video was also super sick. There was another one. It was like, this one was really cool too. Like, I'm telling you, like, I love the creature design in Ashes. Like some creatures, like the Grims and stuff like that, it's okay. But overall, Like there's some really cool like monster creatures like in Ashes. Like this looks sick. Like all these things look amazing. But there was another one. This one right here. Oh my God. I actually had to go like in front of my TV because I was watching in the living room. This looks amazing. I like, and this is like what I was always hoping for, because it's like, you know, whenever Steven came on my first, or when I first talked to him in my interview, I asked him about, you know, is Ashes going to be teen for teen, or is it going to be rated M for mature? And he says, oh no, Ashes will be rated M for mature. And I was like, what? Because I always wanted an MMO that was rated M for mature. Dino, dude, what's up, brother? Good to see you, man. Yeah, I always wanted like an M rated MMO, and so like, but I hadn't really seen anything. Like Carfin was like a little, I was like, it's like, it's very safe. Like I felt like everything was very safe. This is not safe. Like this is clearly some crazy shit right here. And this is the stuff, like, this is why I think many people love like the Diablo franchise, right? Because if you look at the older Diablo games, like Diablo 1, Diablo 2 specifically, right? Like those games just had such grotesqueness and such like ritualistic and very like, you know, impaled heads on fences and on, you know, spikes and stuff like that. Like it looks so good. Yeah, definitely some hellish Diablo vibe looking at that. Yeah, this is sick, dude. Like I am very much like, even this too, like it just seeing, like I can't even imagine like being in like New Ayla and then going into like one of the parts that's like being corrupted, and you just like stumble upon this as you're gathering. You're like, what the fuck? You know what I mean? Like, and this is what I love about distance in Ashes too, because Ashes, if you're on some of the higher cliff sides, you can see pretty freaking far in the distance. This is going to be amazing to like actually see once you get in game. Like I hope so. I think it's going to be some real sick shit. I am more worried about the pet tank being better than the tanks while leveling, since the tank is so gear dependent. That could be an issue. But I think once they actually, this is my thing. When rogues came out, rogues could literally do, like there were people like literally soloing 2-star elites. Like no joke. Some people were trying to do 3-star elites, like, and you know, because some of them had like pretty good, damn good gear. Again, it's PTR. Even when it goes to Alpha 2 and it goes to the live production server, like shit's going to be broken. It's going to be tuned later. But I think overall, we got to kind of see, like, once they actually revisit the tank and they do like a second pass on the tank, well, then how does the tank hold up then? You know what I'm trying to say? Like, how does the tank hold up to like a level 7 summoner with the tank pet compared to a level 7 tank? Of course, level 7 tank should outperform a pet, right? The pet should provide like instances of like, hey, the tank's got to get away. Let my pet tank or taunt real fast. Like that's the other thing too. I hope that there is a button that I can click on for my tank pet where I can like hit taunt, right? Or I can turn off taunt. Like that's what I'm sort of hoping for. Like I want to be in control of, like, you know, I just don't want the pet to be like, hey, I'm out, I'm going to be taunting all the time, or like I'm on a 5-second, you know, rotation of like taunting automatically, or, you know, whatever the case is. Like I want to be very in control of, like, especially in a group like Ashes, right? Like you have to be in control of your summons. So all that's going to be like very, very, very important. Let me see.
All right.
So then there's this whole like pet fishing, which, to be totally honest with you, like I'll probably go back and listen to this like myself, like later. I heard some of it. But I wanted to hear, because there was a lot of good questions. Like I heard fragments, but after they talked about, so this is it right here. Because then they came back.
Daily reports, weekly reports, specific reports on.
And I believe they were going to.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back. We are going to be going over community feedback. There's been
This right here. this is what I really wanted to listen to, and I couldn't freaking listen to this. So this I'm going to listen to for sure, because I very much like the stuff that I was hearing. I loved what I was hearing. So, yeah,
And a lot of it, we have done a plethora of reports on the community side for development, daily reports, weekly reports, specific reports on various different topics. I know the QA team themselves has also done a ton of bug reporting and providing all of that information to the development team. But we understand that there are some folks curious about certain topics or certain systems, and we want to kind of cover those concerns here so that you know that, like, hey, we hear you, we understand that those things are concerns for you guys, but we're not concerned because we have solutions, we have plans that we're putting into play, and we kind of want to bring you into this. A lot of these we've talked about through, Stephen has mentioned these things in Discord to folks, but we want to give it a little bit more amplification because not everyone is following along at every little thing that a developer states in those channels. So the first
Discord,
topic,
in Discord or in Reddit, just to be clear, like, obviously in between meetings or when I'm, laying in bed at middle of the night, reading through Discord or stuff, I'll comment, I'll engage with the community there. Obviously that is not something that is extensible outside of those platforms. I try to rely on our community content creators, on individuals who, go on X and might, post summaries. I've seen a lot of different Ashes moments and, people who post things on Reddit so that it gives it a little bit of a more megaphone. But as Margaret said, we want to also incorporate some of these topics, even though we may have addressed them this last month or so, as part of the live stream, so it has a wider view and audience.
Yeah, and the community team also has replied to a lot of these threads or the discussion topics or whatever it may be as well. And same with our QA team. I know that a lot of them are in those bug threads, but we just want to give it a little bit more amplification. So the first segment here is going to be about settlements and war systems. So my first question is, can you clarify how settlement XP gain, resets, and level ups are currently working, and whether we'll see clear thresholds or contribution tracking in the future?
Yeah. Is that me?
About settlements and war systems. So my first question is, can you clarify how settlement XP gain, resets, and
level ups
are
okay.
How about my voice? Is my
okay.
voice?
I was like, what the hell is going on?
Popcorn.
Sorry. I was like, I thought it was me. I was like, is that me?
Contribution tracking in the future.
I'm sorry. Somebody.
I kind of don't care about this question personally. Like, it's going to get fixed. You know what I mean? Like, I really don't, like, I kind of know how stuff is allocated node XP wise.
Systems for settlement development, including adding an entirely new level to settlements, the town phase. And anytime you are making changes to a particular system, especially one as expansive, as large, as intricate as the node system, I mean, that is probably our most intricate system that we have in the game, arguably, it is going to incur the potential for bugs to manifest, for issues that need to be solved. So I would say, that's normal. That should be expected. The settlement system is something that we are continuing to refine. You see this new development for content and systems moving forward, as we showcased here so far on the stream. That doesn't mean that teams are not dedicated to fixing the live environment and what is currently implemented. That is always going to be a balance that we have to maintain, right? Because in a sense, this live testing experience is a live service to a degree, right? It's a live service that has the express understanding that there's going to be bugs, that there's going to not be polished, that there's going to be issues we need to address. But as a result, we have to bifurcate the team to a degree to address those issues on live, while also considering the forward momentum and perspective on our milestone goals for content development and new system development, right? Because we have a lot of features that we're intending to launch with Ashes of Creation. So can I clarify how settlement experience gains, resets work, right? Obviously, as players do things in the world that gains them experience, they're contributing that experience to settlements. Now, we experienced a few bugs early on that have now, for the most part, been addressed with regards to experience getting reset, persistence having some issues with within the database for settlement experience that was gained related specifically to either server workers dropping, the node service getting inundated with traffic, and having some failures that resulted in those node experiences getting lost. We have since addressed a majority of those issues. Node should now be, settlements should now be, I'm sorry, that's going to be difficult. But settlements have now been collecting the proper experience. However, as a result of some of the underlying system
I think the reason why this systems are stalling is really on the server side rather than bugs. The bugs are really the servers working properly or not. Could be.
getting
I have no
adjusted
idea. I'm not I don't know.
through working towards phase 3.
We just want them
There
fixed.
were also some hooks to the data from a UI perspective that wasn't displaying proper experience gained as well. So it was kind of a twofer. There were underlying issues with the service and nodes collecting that experience, and there was also a display issue happening on the UI side. Now, as I understand it, there's still some outstanding work for the bugs that relates to the UI, and UI is working on that. That might be included in the 0.16 release that's going to be coming up next week. Some fixes for that, but
Looks
just
cool as shit.
make sure that you're helping people to understand this isn't a game yet. This is still a testing phase. We are still actively developing, and when you add to the development pot, the stew of development, sometimes tastes need to be refined. Sometimes bugs, can be found that need to be adjusted. So as long as we all have and share that expectation, I think there's going to be a lot more understanding.
Yeah, I would just say like
It's a live service, but not a game. Well, and that's the hard part, right, Phantom? Like, they're trying to straddle the fence of, well, and this is why I get frustrated, because when you treat it like a live service, players will treat it like a live service. So when you talk about rollbacks, when you talk about wipes, when you talk about potentially an economic wipe, you have these people that are against it because they're like, well, no wipe. Like, we shouldn't wipe until beta. But we're not in a game yet. You know what I mean? Like, but it's being treated like one. So it's like, should I blame the players or should I blame Intrepid? You know what I'm saying? Like I want data. I want to see, once this is fixed, how do people then react? The only way they can react is if we were in a wipe, right? Like, being level 25, being geared, you're going to have certain things you're going to disregard because you're already at a threshold of complete. So this is why, in my opinion, like, once static node rarity is removed, once we potentially have certain economical things, like when it comes to benches being fixed, when we have processing fees being reduced, when we have vendor reagents being reduced, there's a lot of pricing that needs to be adjusted, in my opinion. But quantities of materials is another one in my mind as well that needs to be adjusted. Once all those things are fixed, then what does us leveling the nodes look like? How does it feel then to craft once those recipes are reduced in quantity, once things are potentially easier, right? Like, imagine you don't have to make 400 back pieces as a tailor to hit level 10. What if it only took like 50, right? Because I feel like the real big hurdle is not really you leveling to 10. It's more of and this is what I get super upset at, is if the meta for any crafter is to make one single piece of gear multiple times over because it's the least expensive out of the bunch, then all the market will get flooded with is either a useful item that fits one slot or a useless item that has no purpose. Right now, weaponsmiths craft shields. Literally no one uses shields. So the vast majority of those shields just literally go vendored, right? And I hope eventually we can get into a system, meta's deconstructing those, in my opinion. That could be, but I feel like the true meta is to make a crafting system provide the crafted items a value to the people that are actually seeking them. Right now, people, don't like the fact that there isn't gear drops or whatever, right? But if crafters were actually incentivized to make different pieces of gear, and then you put those things on the marketplace, people will buy them. You know what I'm trying to say? If crafted gear is going to be better than quest rewards or mob drops or whatever, you'll want to buy that better gear. And if every crafter is making a variety of things, then you're going to have to compete with other weaponsmiths, with other tailorers, right? So, but if everybody's making a variety, then prices can be competitive, which is good for the buyer. You know what I'm trying to say? Like, I don't know. Like, I really want crafting and I really want the market to be just in a better state. But I feel like just in how the crafting system is, I understand why people make a singular piece over and over and over and over and over again. You know, like, it's just a shame that it's actually like that. And I hope it gets fixed. I hope something happens that actually, you know, changes that meta up.
You know, we always err on the side of putting things in front of players earlier rather than later.
Yes.
And we know that there's, you know, that there's gaps in our feedback, and that's always good. And
I just want to say this. If 1 to 10 for a lot of the novice stuff didn't take a crazy amount of stuff, like I would say gathering from 1 to 10 doesn't feel too bad. Like, I feel like the only thing that's kind of missing is the actual progression of gathering. But when it comes to like processing, I think from 1 to 10 isn't actually too bad. I think the experience gain for processors is actually like pretty good. Like, once you actually have the materials, the thing that kills processors is how costly it is, especially a novice. It is insanely costly. But really, crafters, like, of course you make the shit, but you're making just a single piece. Like, the thing that barricades you, and this is why I wouldn't mind if the leveling of the professions wasn't that bad from 1 to 10, because you still have to make a choice of 5 apprenticeships. You have 22 professions. You can't apprentice all of them. So does it really matter how long it should take for you to level from 1 to 10? Like, that's just my take. Like, I feel like they're making the 1 to 10 thing for crafters way too long. Like, it's just too much. It's too much. I would rather have it simplified and have it actually not be as grindy, because the real choice of the matter is, as you go to apprentice, then you can start being grindy, in my opinion, because now this is where you're actually certifying to raise up. But you can novice all 22 professions. So, I mean, I don't know, like, I just don't find it to be a big deal, at least to me.
the UI UX, and those are always things that are going to be iterated upon endlessly as we're going through the different phases of testing, and even, you know, into a real released live game environment. Like, those jobs are never done.
Yep. And I see a question from Glowies. Why are you going to market your tests then? That's a great question. Why are we going to market the test? Because the more testers we have that are participating, the more feedback we get, the more bugs that we find, the more opportunity for iteration that we get. And we feel that the product or the test environment is now in a place where players can see, even if they're unengaged, even if they're not, you know, haven't been following the project for the last 7 years, there is an opportunity for them to see what the long-term intent and pictures and goals are for this project, and to have a voice in that process as well. This is also something that we get to use to litmus test some of these systems, not within the, you know, I don't want to call it necessarily, not within the core golden cohort, right? You guys who are on this stream right now, the 2,500 people who are watching, the, you know, 50, 60, 70,000 people who will watch this Twitch recording and or live stream on YouTube, you're a very core audience. You are very invested. You like this game. You are sold on kind of what we're trying to achieve. Otherwise, you wouldn't be here, right? Now, the question is, how does that translate to the lesser engaged audience? We want to get that information sooner rather than later, because they are also an important part of ensuring the game's success. And
I disagree, Stephen. I disagree completely. I think it's actually worse to invite an ill-informed person to this project that doesn't have an investment, that will actually be way more critical about things they don't really understand because of how complicated this game is. And if you want to literally try to get someone, right? Like if I don't know anything about Ashes of Creation, but let's say I am an MMO minded player. I play World of Warcraft, or I played New World, I played Lost Ark, I've played, let's say a plethora of different kinds of MMORPGs. I think if certain things aren't fixed, I would say the vast majority of the people that you potentially could get would actually and would actually be more detrimental because they don't understand. They haven't been here since, as long as I've been here, or as long as some other people have been here since like 2017. And because, it's just something like, this game looks kind of cool. But then when they get into it and they see what the meat and potatoes are, I really don't know how many people you would then be able to convert. Like, I'm sure you would be able to convert some, but I think the large amount of people would rather shit on the game than actually give you the benefit of the doubt of like the actual vision and the design intent of the game. Does that make sense? Like, again, being respectful here, I just disagree with you, Steven. Like, I think it really is a mistake to market to people that are as uneducated, because let me also tell you something else. There's already over 100,000 people that have purchased Alpha 2 access, according to Intrepid, right? But then you have, you have this, right? So you have our boy, Lazy Peon. His most recent video has about 165,000 views. His video before that, 212,000 views. The video that caught me and the many eyes of MMORPG players, almost 3 million views. People know your game, Steven. Like, in my opinion, every MMO player knows about Ashes of Creation. You would be very hard pressed to find someone in the MMORPG community that doesn't know Ashes of Creation. I'm just being honest. Like, for how hungry the MMORPG community has been for an MMO, we know more niche MMOs like PAX Day, Chrono Odyssey. What's the other one? Project Ghost, the Riot MMO. Like, all these people know of like super obscure MMOs. But the main reason why I am very, Aeon too, like, isn't Arcade coming out with like another MMO too? Like, all I'm saying is like many people already know of Ashes of Creation's existence. Right now, pushing them to a phase in the game that, in my opinion, would be more detrimental, because they're going to come in and potentially, which I hope is fixed. But even right now, like, so here's the thing, Steven. For phase 3, we've actually gotten in our guild the most amount of new people that haven't really been following Ashes of Creation, but they saw like Lazy Peon, I don't know, I haven't asked many people in our guild of like how they stumbled upon Ashes, or like what made them buy a phase 3 key. But we had a lot of people in this phase that are brand new. And let me just say this, Steven, it was not a great experience for them. So some of them, actually the majority, at least in our guild, have actually stuck with the phase because our guild is playing. But this was not a good time for them to come in, which is why I advocated for phase 3 to be pushed. Because I think releasing phase 3 at this point 17, which is the Harbingers update, in my opinion, would have been the time to do it if the things that were broken, which is like the node XP, UI, economy stuff, broken benches, recipes, just all that stuff. We could have just been testing in PTR And the people that want to stick with 2.5 could have stick with their characters, still would have played on that server. Majority of people would have probably been playing PTR because a lot of people were sick of the 2.5. But there was people that still loved their character, had very good gear, whatever the case is. But I also think that the real reason it is, and I've said this before, is again, you're not made of money, right? MMORPGs are insanely costly to make. And it pains me because I wish we were in the same situation that like a Star Citizen was in, and people pledged like almost $1 billion to Ashes of Creation, right? But you know, sadly that wasn't the case. You know what I mean? Like, I think y'all's Kickstarter was very successful in the grand scheme of things. But as someone who's been following the project since 2020, I know Phantom was like number 2 person actually buying into Ashes of Creation's Kickstarter. I want people to play Ashes. I do. Like, I've always advocated for them. I've always been that person to be very positive about the game. But right now, like when I talk to these new people, like I have to tell them, I was like, well, I'm so sorry. Like, you entered into phase 3 and it was under these conditions, right? Like, you know, you can mention the whole, like, it's a test, it's not a game or whatever, but people bought into this, and for their first experience to be so negative, it's a shame. Right. And I'm sure the team is like, you know, like they're trying their ass off, you know what I mean? They're trying to make up for the launch of phase 3. And it shows with, like, especially with the way they're doing the Harbingers and the way they're doing other things. I just don't know why it could have been pushed. Again, the economy, when y'all talked about it originally, this was in March. You guys had no problem then saying, oh, May is when you guys are going to have it. May is when we're going to get the new economy. And then it was pushed even further to an unknown date. And then we didn't even really get this new economy until a week before phase 3. So I understand stuff gets delayed. I understand that things could have been going, you know, very hairy in the econ team or whatever the case is. But I think putting your best foot forward and saying like, hey, we're going to market this thing. Like, you guys have to be insanely confident to hit certain features that need to feel, in a sense, like a gameplay loop that people wouldn't mind paying for. Does that make sense? Because I feel like there's certain people, even within our guild, that regret paying, you know, $100 for phase 3. Like, maybe they should have just waited. And again, with this project, waiting is always the best thing, because as time goes on, there's going to be more added to the game. There's going to be more fixes underneath the belt. But right now, like I said, we're still battling static node rarity. There's so many things that we're battling, and it's kind of like this friction, right? And the thing I have to understand too is that, you know, testing and experimentation isn't fun. You know, when you go to like a blind placebo test for, like, you know, medical testing or whatever, that shit ain't fun. You don't know if you're getting the placebo, or if you're going to have any kind of crazy side effects. You're going to have headaches, migraines, you know, whatever the case is. Like, it's just, and some people in playing Ashes, they'll get the placebo of like, oh, you know, it's whatever, right? Like, it's an MMO to play. It's something there. And some people, they're getting migraines. They're getting very frustrated. They're, you know, they're getting all of the things that make them very irate. So, I mean, Steven literally is counting on Lazy Peon and Asmongold and other popular content creators to make this game be profitable. So it's always a risk to wait too long or release it in 2027. I think it's more of a risk to try to market a game that, again, because I would only hope by the time November hits that the things that I'm complaining about, or the things that I would say the vast majority of the community are complaining about, could all be fixed. And to be honest with you, if all those things are fixed by November, that's also unassuming that whatever the 0.17 update is going to bring in ain't going to bring in any new bugs, which when has that happened? You know what I'm saying? So could it be better economic wise? Absolutely. Could it be better gameplay wise? Absolutely. Could it be better PvP wise? Absolutely. But there's always other factors that it could make the experience be less than. And I think the people that are currently here give Steven a lot of like flack, or I'm not slack, sorry. Because we're all invested. You know, I literally became a content creator for this game because of how much I believed in this project. Other people have done the exact same thing as I did, right? So clearly there's a lot of slack being given to Steven and Intrepid and the devs, and we all understand that this is a test, but those new people are not going to give you all slack. They're not. They go write a Reddit post, they will eviscerate feedback harder than anyone in the community because they don't care. Like, if this game dies, they're just going to go back and play the game they were already playing. It ain't nothing to them, but it's something to me. Like, you know what I mean? It's something to a lot of us that are here currently. You know, you're watching an Ashes of Creation content creator, right? For a game that doesn't literally, we're not live, you know, this game doesn't exist yet. We're in a test. So to repeat Steven's most favorite line, work in progress, literally all of this unlikely will change. Yeah, I know it all could change, but I'm just giving my opinion as to why I think marketing in November is not the right decision. It isn't. And as much as you know, like kind of the quarter analysis, or like, you know, if there was like someone that says, well, even if people lambast our game and give us a bunch of negative reviews, is it worth getting like an influx of money that could potentially last us like another year? Well, the question is, will it be worth it? I don't know. Like I don't know. Like, because because that's actually what killed. Well, actually, there's many things that you can say killed New World, but it was mostly the sentiment around much of the content creators, right? The content creators like Josh Drive Hayes, Lazy Peon, many of the New World content creators, Asmongold, all just started to make videos highlighting all of the flaws, all of the things that made New World kind of a joke at launch. And so many players, you know, like New World was literally a meme for a while. Were there people that stuck with New World? Absolutely. But it died very fast. And I literally do not want that for Ashes. I don't. So that's kind of my thing. Like, I really don't want that to happen. I would love to have a video of the devs talking about all the feedback they are getting and how they are addressing them. I know they're working on it, but I would love to see some path forward. Yeah, me too, man. I mean, and I think that's kind of like what they're doing here, right? They're kind of explaining, you know, all of this is community feedback. And you know, there's been a ton of it. Like, I've literally left like 6 Reddit posts on how, you know, changes to the economy that I would love, you know, other people that I've loved, like a lot of the stuff that I talk about, because I hang out in Discord a lot with my guild, with other people, other content creators. And a lot of the things that I put in my Reddit post or in my videos are things that I've been hearing from people constantly. Like their issues, their concerns, their problems, their frustrations, the friction they feel. And I put that in the Reddit post. You know, this isn't just all me and how I personally feel. Like, it is to an extent, but a lot of it is also like collaborated, and also like, you know, I listen to the feedback from my own community and from the people I trust and, you know, like their opinion. Let me see. I suspect we are closer to beta than most people think. The feedback section of this stream was a good step forward, but I think they missed a few things. Yeah, well, so far, I think, you know, here, let's have Steven finish real quick.
We need to make sure that their voice is represented. And there's only one way that you can reach those individuals, and that's through some amount of marketing. We feel that we have done as much as we can from a grassroots perspective to attract the golden cohort that we have, and we've done a great job at that. Don't get me wrong. Like, from a project in development, there are very few that have this level of visibility and engagement at this stage, and historically has had at this stage. But now there is an opportunity
There are
for
products
us
that
to
are
expand
fully
that.
complete who don't have that.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
Correct.
Well, yeah, but dude, the Lazy Peon video was monumental for Ashes. Literally monumental. It was single-handedly the video that put Ashes in a viral sensation. And Crowfall didn't have that. New World didn't have that. Like a lot of MMOs didn't have that. You know what I mean? So I think, you know, keep working on the game, keep fixing, keep updating, keep adding. But I feel like potentially marketing like next year, maybe, you know what I mean? Like sometime next year, like, you know, maybe on the 0.18 update when we have augments to play with, maybe when we're like level 30, maybe when, you know, a lot of the economy stuff is more fleshed out, we have more recipes in the other biomes, you know, like I just feel like February would probably be a better date to market than November in my mind. Some of the current systems or lack thereof is the reason some of the golden cohort isn't playing. Well, that's exactly my point. Dude, one of my guildies leveled to 25 and was so upset of the game, he gave all his stuff away and deleted his character. And he's like, I am done with Ashes until they fix their game. Like, that's literally what he said. And this is someone who has been in this community, who has watched every single live stream. And he's just like, I'm done. You know what I mean? And again, like testing a game like this, it'll do that 100%. And I don't think that there are others like him. You know what I'm saying? There are other people that have just like, you know what, like at the current thing of the game. And I've always advocated, if you're feeling very frustrated, if you're not being productive in your testing and you're just, all you're getting from it is frustration, all you're getting from it is like, they're not fixing the things that I want fixed, then yes, please take a step back, go do something else for a little bit, come back later, because I'm pretty sure later will happen. And hopefully by then stuff will be in a better state for those individuals that left. But what's crazy is that people that played, I think for the first month and a half or 2 months of phase 2 came back for phase 3 and they're like, okay, I'm going to peace out. Like, I think the first couple of days of phase 3, when all of our issues were going on and there was like a whole bunch of stuff happening, we were like, yeah, no, I'm just I'll come back later. You know what I mean? And that's the healthy thing to do. You know what I mean? That's literally what you have to do. Let's keep watching. Part of it is the communication problem, a lot of feelings of shouting into the void. Well, yeah. And this is why, like, I really think the community feedback, I don't know if they do a Q&A at the end of here, but I would rather have this community feedback section than a Q&A from like the community, because you have a Q&A based on our feedback. Like if you just literally go through the month, literally bring up every single key point that people are complaining about and just talk about it. That's it. That's all literally we want. Like, this is the transparency, right? These are the things that we have been writing Reddit posts about, writing forum posts about, you know, bitching about in Discord. So take each topic, talk about it in your live stream at the end of the month, and have a discussion, just like they're doing now. Like that's all I've ever wanted. So this is like really good. This is like the top tier content that they should have been doing.
This will be the first time that we're putting those like ad spends out and things like that. Like Steven said, it has been very grassroots. We have built this community through engagement with you guys, through hopefully you're feeling like you're seeing the progression of Ashes of Creation. I know talking to some of you guys who have been here for such a long time have felt that way and seen it and are excited to see it continue to grow and our team continue to grow. And I think it's going to be exciting to see more players actually get to see the product and know about us. There's tons of people who don't even know what Ashes of Creation is, and that is why we're going to be marketing. So like the marketing aspect of it is more that outreach, that getting more eyes on Ashes of Creation so that people can see like what we're working on, and then we can get that feedback from those users as well.
Absolutely.
Did you answer the part?
Let me see. Steven needs to fill all the settlements in the desert, anvils, etc. Right now, all their biomes feel too empty. I think they're going to feel empty for a while. And the reasoning why is because when it came to Burns' interview with Steven, it got confirmed that every starting zone with the starting area, like the anvils and the riverlands, or potentially the 2 other areas on the other continent, are going to be levels 1 through 30. So all of the other biomes will be 30 through 50. So currently we're not testing 30 through 50 content. We're testing 1 to 25. So I think what's going to end up happening, and this is probably why they stopped, because if you notice, remember, oh my God, was it May of, it was either April's live stream or May's live stream where Steven said that, oh yeah, we're working on the anvils, and after the anvils, we're working on the Badlands, and the Badlands, we're going to do like the Redwood area. Like they were, because remember, they were just pumping biomes out, just pumping them out. But it's like, what's the point of adding these biomes if all that it's going to end up being is just a husk of a zone? You know what I'm saying? Like and that's what people want. People want content, right? So I think they kind of hold the brakes a bit on the whole biome creation and started to actually produce the content. Like, dude, we've been waiting on story arcs. We were supposed to have story arcs in phase 2 for the Riverlands. Now we're finally going to get that in phase 3 in November. So I shouldn't need the cash though. Steven said the project was funded years ago. They didn't need another dime. So they didn't need another dime from the actual project's perspective, but the maintenancing of a company, you know, of maintenancing all of their salaries and all this, you can't like fund that to completion. You know what I mean? Like, I think they had an actual thing of what the project's going to cost. And that's something he's already given out. Like, he's already pumped out $40 million of his own money. That's gone. That's literally gone. So, oh, it's our boy Planning. Everyone hide. What up, brother? How's it doing, man? So, but yeah, I mean, I think basically they're, you know, people want content. And I think that was the right move. I eventually they're going to finish out the Western continent, right? But it doesn't matter if you're just giving us husks of zones that don't really have much to them other than just like grinding, you know, we have a bunch of grinding POIs already, right? Like, I don't think another POI grind is what Ashes needs currently. Would anyone agree? Right? We have like what, 5 biomes with plenty of POI grinds. Like we don't need any more. What we need is actual deliverable dynamic PVX content. And that's exactly what the Harbingers update is going to bring. And honestly, we need more fixes and additions to the economy. We need actual node types. Like, we don't even have that. We're like, what makes a node economic? What makes a node military? What makes a node religious? We haven't even got the religion system online yet either. You guys remember when they did the midnight magic and we actually saw the constellations in the sky? Like, there's still so many systems that we still have yet to have gotten an experience and test, right? So we have so much on the docket. This is why the whole argument or, you know, conjecture of like one continent scares the shit out of me, because some of the tinfoil hat arguments make so much freaking sense. But then the other stuff is like, well, what all are they going to cut? You know what I mean? Like, that's my thing. Like, that's why I need to talk to Steven. Like, I need to talk to Steven. I got to ask him these questions and we'll have a discussion about it. I've been saying this for months now that it is aspirational content that is supposed to keep us playing. Exactly. Like, you need content that provides those gameplay loops, because those gameplay loops have to be reiterated. How can we leave feedback on what a dynamic world event is if we've never experienced one, right? How could we leave feedback on like a castle siege if we yet have ballistas? We don't even have like actual fortification for nodes, right? Like, there's so many things that we're still missing from a design and system perspective, and those things have to be delivered more so than a biome. Biomes are apparently easy. You can pump out a biome very quickly, you know, and then of course Planning's going to work on the lighting for like 8 months, you know, but it's a work in progress. You know what I mean? It is what it is. Tolnar is going to be a stretch. They're supposed to have a whole underground area too. Oh yeah. The whole Tolnar and underground area was a stretch goal, along with like parlor games, along with, what was it else? Like, me and Phantom were talking about it the other day. I can't remember specifically, but yeah, there was a bunch of different, the stock exchange was one of them. Let me see. They still have no castles in Underrealm. Yeah, no. And again, like underwater content. Thank you, Phantom. Underwater content. yeah, social orgs. I mean, there's just so much. And this is like when I remember in 2020 when I was looking at the wiki then and like rewatching Lazy Peon video for like the third time, I'm like, this game is fucking huge. Like, and I was playing World of Warcraft at that time. Like in 2017, we were knee deep in Legion. You know what I mean? And you know, and I was saying then, like, or no, what was 2020? 2020 was Shadowlands. Yeah, so like I was saying even then, I was like, I was comparing it even to World of Warcraft. I'm like, this is a monster ass game. Like, it just felt like World of Warcraft plus like 5 expansions. Like that's what Ashes Creation felt like. Just all of this content, like all of these things that are gonna make this world just so insane. But anyway, let's keep watching.
About whether we'll see clearer thresholds or contribution tracking in the future.
Yeah, I will say that, you know, from a UI and UX perspective, you know, as we develop what that visual feedback looks like to the player, we will perhaps get a little bit more granular, showing, you know, specific experience
I love
values,
the way it looks, man. Looks so good.
that the node progression requires. But that comes later when we do a more refining polish pass on the UI that's actually representing these systems.
All right, next one is, we only got through one. Are there any improvements planned for settlement war warnings and guard behavior?
LePro, dude, thank you so much for the follow, brother. Thank you. Hope you're enjoying the stream so far, man. Hold on, is that my wife texting me? She's just sharing. She always shares TikToks with me. She's just probably in bed watching TikTok. All right, sorry about that.
Especially during early aggression or conflict triggers.
Yeah. So talking about the importance of feedback.
Yeah.
I think that we all saw the importance of that feedback a couple of weeks ago, when now in the new phase, as certain player groups got to the point where they were engaging in node wars, you know, we saw, hey, some of these features that we deprioritized as not being MVP required to stand up the base functionality of this particular system now has risen to the point by the community where
I'm gonna have to get with you, Phantom, and you're gonna have to show me like how to do all the magic voodoo that you do so well when it comes to the streaming stuff. I am an amateur, I feel like, when it comes to streaming. But yeah, I am excited, LePro, for the Summoner, man. Like I said, I mained Hunter and Warlock pretty much the entirety of my game. I did that for 17 years. So I really love pet classes. So I'm very much looking forward to the Summoner.
it is really desired to, and we need to implement this sooner rather than later. So of course, you know, myself and Bill and the other directors, having the power that we do within the development scene, we can take that feedback and we can make some disruptive actions and choices.
It does look
and
clean.
That's what we decided to do with regards
100%.
to this particular feedback. So as a result, you'll be seeing in the 0.16 update that's coming next week, there being new alignment protocols for guards within nodes, so that when node sieges when node wars, gosh darn it, I'm so sorry.
Settlement wars.
War, I know. It's going to take at least 8 years. It was 8 years of it being nodes. It's going to take 8 years before it's fully settlements yet. So anyways, when the settlement wars get initiated, the guards will now be affiliated with the citizens, and they will defend only the citizens who are registered as participants within the node. They will also treat hostilely any adversarial party that comes within range. That's going to be a huge benefit that I think the community was asking us to prioritize sooner rather than later. So that's coming potentially next week. And then in addition to that, we are also incorporating, let me just see here. We are incorporating the warning. So there will be a warning phase ahead of the settlement war.
Good.
So the players
really
have
good.
time to prepare, to to stash their goods, to make it back to a warehouse or something, and be ready for it. And then additionally, we are adding a on login toast, so that if you were offline when this warning phase occurred, or you're not aware and you haven't logged in for a couple of days, and boom, you log in the middle of a
Phantom, dude, always good to see you, brother. Have a good night, man. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. See you tomorrow. I'll probably catch your stream after because it's too early in the morning for me to look at, but I always look at the VOD. Have a good night, brother.
settlement war, you will be notified via a toast that, hey, look out, you're in the middle of a settlement war, be concerned, post shit.
See, I don't like that. If I'm logging into the game, right? Like sometimes I log out just out in the middle of the world, right? And if I log in the middle of the world and then like, it's like a, half a day, like 12 hours rolls around and I just log in and then like I'm immediately notified that I'm currently in a war. Like I don't know if this would be good for the game or not. And, maybe you guys would be like, no, Vlad, your opinion's bad. But like, I wish there was a way to renounce being in the war and it like negatively affects my node XP or something like that, like my citizenship, right? Like, or if I say like I don't want to participate in the war, like if I don't want to, it takes a hit to my node citizenship basically. And if I'm like a peasant, right, I can basically, let's say, renounce a war once, but if I renounce another war still being a peasant, then I lose my citizenship with that node, right? Like something like that, right? Yeah, it reduces your node rep. Like just something, because I feel like, again, I understand this is a PVX game. I understand that there are, all the things that you want to talk about, all the, data you want to throw at me or whatever. But there's just some times where you're not in the mood, right? Like sometimes you just want to go and chill, relax. You don't want to take part in that thing. So why should I be forced into doing something that I don't want to do? Like at least give me an option that has negative consequences for my character that I'll be willing to accept, right? Like again, we always talk about risk versus reward. Let me see, you want to force people into PvP, game will be dead. Well, and that's what I mean, right? Like, I love the fact that it gives you a toast saying like, hey, like your node is currently at war with this other node. I wish there was like an option to be like, would you like to participate in the war effort, right? And be like, sure, I'm down for PvP right now. Or would I like to renounce, or like, just some other option that takes me out of the war that has negative penalties for me that I'd be willing to accept. I think again, like node citizenship and all the different things that it brings, like I'd be willing to take a hit on that, right? And be like, damn, I'll lose like 10,000, node experience. Fuck. Okay. Well, shit. I'll take the hit, and maybe the other time I won't take the hit, right? But I think again, having an option would be nice. You should plain up lose your citizenship if you renounce participating in a settlement war. I mean, I think we can all talk about like the like again, I think that's really freaking severe. That's like saying, well, I think if you die, once as a corrupted player, you should drop 5 pieces of gear, right? And look how people are responding to that, right? Like, because right now the corruption is super heavy-handed, but you'll have PvEers, right, that will say that. And what do the PvPers say? No, that's not what the game's about, right? So it's like, I think trying to find like a good middle ground would be nice, is all I'm saying. And again, it's all opinion, it's all conjecture really, but all I'm saying is I think sometimes you're in the mood to log into the game. Sometimes you have a particular thing that you want to do in mind, but depending on not only that, if there's a node war, a guild war, if there's a certain story arc up, I mean, once we actually have multiple systems online activated, ready to go, like the game can pull you in so many different directions. It's not even going to be funny, but I think it would be interesting to see, again, giving some people that are strictly PvEers, like throwing them a bone is what I'm saying, right? I would keep myself in the war. Let's go, baby. Here's your daddy in PvP. I'd be okay with a opt-in, but I think those that opt in should get gold out of it or something. Oh no, there's definitely rewards for staying in the node war and winning. Like there's definitely rewards, but all I'm saying is like, depending on your mood, depending on what you want to do, like I think there should be something to like opt out, right? With some kind of a consequence is what I'm saying.
And then the next one here is PvP and corruption. How is the team approaching edge cases in the corruption system, like players using unstuck or death to avoid penalties? And will we see clearer rules and safeguards soon?
Are people doing that?
How's the team approaching edge cases in the corruption system? So, we are aware of those edge cases, and we do have plans to address those edge cases. We have designs that are intended to address those edge cases, but there's also going to be a period of time where we reflect on, the feedback and how the system has been used, and we may make some iterative passes on the system as well. So how do we approach it? We approach it obviously through the same methodology that we do most feedback, which is you provide that feedback, community collects that feedback, they have a meeting with design and myself where we discuss that feedback and theory craft solutions, or whether or not it validates our intended solutions that we just haven't gotten around to yet. So a lot of these systems, as we know, are still unpolished, but also are missing core functionality features, right? That may not have been required or needed or identified as MVP for the base loop to be functional and for us to even collect this feedback or validate that future direction, going forward. I think that we have added some of that functionality in the past. I think it was like 4 months ago or 5 months ago that we added additional functionality to the corruption system. We will likely be prioritizing this in the next milestone, so not what's coming up in November, but
0.18 probably. Well, no, I'm not talking about a node siege. I'm talking about a node war, because I also feel like too, if you're in a guild war, like there should be players that should have an option to renounce if they want to. Again, like I feel like certain PvP things should be an opt-in, not all things, certain things. Like, I don't think if you go into a lawless era, you can opt out of that, right? Like there's certain systems that just make sense that you can't get away from. But I think there's certain conversations that could be had. Like I personally think you have to sign up for a node siege. Like clearly you wanted to do that if you signed up for it. Like changing your mind later and be like, and actually I don't want to do the node siege. Well, that was kind of your fault. Like that's kind of like my thing with that. But a war, there's no destruction in a war. You know what I mean? That's just node versus node, or guild versus guild on a larger scale. So both need some objective-based gameplay, not battle balls only. Yeah, no, I definitely agree. I really hope and that's why I'm really interested to see, because a lot of these systems, you have to understand, are so version 1, like we're here literally talking about like the iPhone in 2007. Like that's literally what we're talking about. We're literally probably not even the iPhone 2007. We're talking about like the beta phone that we didn't even get to see. Like that's where we're at, version 0.5. Exactly. Like we haven't even seen multiple iterations of base systems yet. We're actually trying to get second or first passes of systems, right? That's at the stage that we're currently at. So yeah, there's much to be iterated and feedbacked upon for sure.
What's coming in thereafter. Unstuck causing death to avoid penalties. We're not going to be changing that. We don't want unstuck to be used as a teleportation, backdoor teleportation. So we decided to make it a death. Now I don't know that necessarily backdoors avoids the penalties. Like you're still taking the penalties. It's just you can incur that death at your own will. You might drop shit there. You might you lose the normal.
See, well, then this game isn't for you, according to Steven. I feel like there's certain things in this game that aren't for me. There were certain things in World of Warcraft that are definitely not for me. Doesn't mean that the whole game wasn't for me. Any MMO isn't going to be perfect for you. Like, and I've had this conversation before, but I'm pretty sure the MMO that you love, there are probably things that you didn't love about it. Doesn't mean, oh, well, you didn't like that aspect. Well, then that game clearly wasn't for you. Like, it doesn't really work that way, right? Like, there was many things in World of Warcraft that I freaking couldn't stand, but I still played it because overall there was a lot about it that I loved. Right. I think every MMO player has a love-hate relationship with their, with the game that they still play or whatever. Dude, talk to any League of Legends player, bro. Like, what are you talking about? Dude, one of my buddies plays freaking League. I mean, Pockets, he's a content creator. He plays League all the time. I'm like, bro, why do you play? Every time you play, you're literally so upset. You're yelling. You get very frustrated when you're finished with your match. It's like, why do you even play that game? It's like, well, as much as I complain and shit on it, like, the game's fun, and it has its moments sometimes, right? Like every MMOs are very much the same. You know what I mean? Doesn't mean that we can't have conversations where, let's say that's me and Tarkov. That's what I mean. Like, there's game. Dude, that was me in Halo 2 back in the day, bro. Oh my God, the amount of screaming that I did. That was a fucking headshot, dude. I used to get so pissed playing Halo 2. No, it doesn't mean we still can't have conversations about, like, because can you imagine if in a guild war, a guild couldn't renounce, right? Like a guild says, like, we can't back out. Like, because remember, that was the way it was in phase 1. Guilds didn't like that because there was feedback and conversations that were held to be like, well, like if we're, you know, declared with the guild war with another guild and we don't want to take part, we should have an option to renounce the war or give up the war. And they did that. That's all I'm saying. It's just on a smaller scale, right? There's gonna be people that are gonna definitely participate. And I think if the rewards are enticing enough, again, people will participate. But if you're not in the mood, I'm not advocating they should just opt out with no penalty. I clearly said there should be something negative that happens to your character. And it's all about finding the right balance of negativity. That's all it is.
Amount of experience that you're going to lose, but I wouldn't consider that necessarily a backdoor. When will we see clearer rules and safeguards? You know, corruption as a whole is something that is going to be continually refined as we move through phase 3. So you will see continual refinements of that as we continue moving forward.
All right, the next one is...
And just to be clear,
ahead.
you know, I see Overgear gameplay saying it clears corruption when you unstuck. It doesn't clear corruption when you unstuck. What it does is it kills you, and killing you clears the corruption. So unstuck isn't necessarily the culprit for clearing the corruption. It causes a death, and when you die and incur that experience debt, you are losing a portion of that corruption.
Oh, that's what they were doing.
So
And
you
long
have
term,
a
that's
very
not how we want unstuck to work also.
correct. That's
Yeah.
correct.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. Next one is, are there plans to make flagging and corruption more transparent or auditable, so open world PvP feels fair but still risky?
I don't know exactly what that means, auditable. Like right now, flagging and corruption
means either.
are pretty transparent. It includes a
Yeah, I would
UI
definitely agree
treatment
with
to
that.
the color of the nameplate. It includes a UI debuff box on the targeting plate or on your own personal HUD. It is very visible. I don't know what auditing it means. We're not gonna. I mean, you'll see
Like
it
a
in
sound
your combat
effect?
log per se, right? But you won't be able to access a history and see, oh, this person flagged here, then, and there, and also went corrupt.
I think it's also like the actions in which flag you for PvP also.
The actions that flag you for PvP.
Yeah, like there's some certain abilities that folks have had problems with, like the Bard abilities and things of that sort.
Yes, those are
Flag
bugs.
them, yeah.
Absolutely, and those are bugs, and I think we've addressed those bugs in the past few weeks on some of those specific edge cases. But I think the crux of this question is auditable. It's that word auditable, and I don't think we're going to be adding any
auditable.
type of auditable feature.
I thought it was like audible,
for the
like
flagging
hearing.
system.
That's
Gotcha.
not what I heard. Okay.
Moving on to artisanship and gear progression. Is there
Like a log, yes.
anything being
Sorry.
done to address the current gear valley where crafting feels unrewarding due to scarce drops, high cost, and missing recipes? It's a loaded one,
Yes.
sorry.
Dude, the fact that I still cannot even find a Weeping Willow, like any Weeping Willow, is insane to me. Like, and it's like that with Braidwood too. Like, and this is the problem. Like, we're talking about this in Guild, and I don't know if I've mentioned it in a Reddit post yet, or but basically, I think, and this could be a hot take. No, I talked about it with the Golden Feather Tavern. I think gathering professions need to be limited to like 2. I think and I've kind of thought about this, like, so initially you can only choose 2 gathering professions. You can still novice all processing. You can still novice all the crafting professions, but when you start out, you're limited to only picking 2. Once you level 1 to Grandmaster, it unlocks a 3rd to then start. Once you have a second one go to Grandmaster, or to a certain point, then you can unlock another. If you don't Grandmaster a novice profession, or a gathering profession, then it's basically just leveling it up to you know, I would say an apprentice. But if you choose not to go into the gathering portion at all, then you won't be able to unlock them. The reasoning why I think it should be that way is because there is a clear issue even now. Like, I wouldn't say, well, not so much now, but there was a portion where you couldn't even find a granite or basalt, right? People always said like, where's the copper at, right? Which was, you know, that was a take that was very reasonable. But because now all there is basalt and granite, well, you know that, you know, zinc is in granite, copper's in basalt. So everybody is hitting basalt and granite like all the time, which means that there's literally nothing out there. Once people hit apprentice, like with lumberjacking, all the way below are literally gone, all of it. So it just, I think being able to pass up certain things and maybe leaving it for like a guildie, like, hey, I'm a fisherman and a lumberjack, right? So I have to pass up all the flowers. I have to pass up all of the mines, but I can chop the trees, right? I think, and again, still giving you the avenue to have all of them be unlocked eventually. But if you choose not to, then you're going to be limited. And I think that also would bring in line the quantities of materials required, since now everybody can't be a lumberjack and a miner and a herbalist and a fisherman and a hunter. Then it kind of, you know, brings it in line to like reduce the quantity of materials required, because not everybody can do them. Same thing with the nodes, right? There's an insane amount of materials required for nodes, but now that you know that not everybody can take part in that, yes, exactly. It brings value. It not only just brings value to certain gatherer professions, but it also leaves certain professions like you're just unable to do it. Because if I want to, let's say I want to hunt and I want to pick flowers, then that means anytime I see a weeping willow, I can't chop it. Anytime I see a basalt or granite node, I can't mine it. I have to leave that up for the people that chose to be a miner or to be, you know, a flower picker, like a herbalist or whatever, right? Like that's, and again, like just initially, because I feel like the Riverlands is actually covered with a bunch of stuff. Like it really is. Like it's definitely plentiful, but it's just the fact that everybody can do it. Like you're not going to pass up some of those things, you know? So I don't know. We'll see.
No, that's okay. So artisanship and gear progression. I will say that we have made some organizational changes within the team over the course of this last month, trying to bring together a little
Don't
bit
take
more
away my
of the
rocks.
systems design.
You can still be a miner.
Particularly as it relates to this
one
question
more
of progression and addressing those gear valleys. However, I will say this level of iteration is not a quick fix. You should not expect this to be done in a short amount of time. The economy is a very expansive system. It is, you know, arguably compared to the settlement system is
that my boy Neo, dude? What is going on, brother? Good to see you. You see, the issue with the mining right now, in my opinion, is 1, RNG to find said granite or basalt. 2, RNG to get zinc or copper or tendonite. 3, RNG to get it at a higher rarity, rip miners. 100% Neo. And this is why I think some of the gathering professions are very frustrating, because there isn't any progression path. And this is why I was really sad to find out that the profession talent trees are basically not going to come out this year, which means we're going to have to wait for that sometime next year. And that is where a lot of the value and a lot of the progression paths forward are going to be. Now, one RNG that you're going to have to basically deal with is the same RNG any gatherer has to deal with, is we got to find the thing first, right? So the RNG in actually finding a basalt or granite node, right? But after that, your tool, your bags, your node buffs, your artisan gear, the points that you put in your passive tree and your profession talent tree all plays into, am I a gem gatherer? Am I a rock gatherer? Am I a metal gatherer? You know, like all of this RNG chances, then I think it's subsided a bit because you're actually providing progression within your professional talent tree in the novice bracket. And that being gone, or that not being present, makes a lot of gathering professions feel very disgusting. And that's why I really hope, I've made talent trees. I've showed this to Intrepid. I've showed this to a lot of the devs. Like, if I can do it as someone with no dev experience, of course I use Grok and, you know, other AIs to help me, you know, become a designer and you know, and I kind of be like, ooh, like all I'm doing is being like, that ability sucks. That ability doesn't do anything. Oh, this ability is cool. Oh, this thing is awesome. You know, so I leave all the awesome shit in there and throw out the stuff that I feel like doesn't matter. Taking a step back, do you think Steven regrets making the game as complicated as it is because of the money issues maybe they're having? If he could go back, would he have done the game at all? That is interesting. I don't know. I think I've always said this. I think, you know, I think the game was way too ambitious for what the paper design and the initial paper design. Honestly, I think he would still do it. I think what he would have done, and again, he wouldn't have never known this, right? Of course, hindsight's always 2020, but I think he just would have made the game build better. It's fine to have all the system he currently has, but this is our base game. This is Ashes of Creation with expansion 1. This is expansion 2, and this is expansion 3. He clearly could have done that very easily. But you know, hey, like, it'd be interesting to ask him that question.
Is the second most complex in the game, right? You're dealing with thousands of recipes.
Yeah, skill leveling and talent tree needs some more work.
You know, a lot of different, you know, variables that inform pricing, reward tables. They're all dynamic in the world. It is any MMO econ designer's worst nightmare to develop an economy for this type of a game. Now, that hasn't deterred us to do that, right? Ultimately, that's at the crux of what makes this type of a game so exciting. All the nooks and crannies that you can find, the best ways to optimize.
I mean, and again, I've said this before, you can have a lead economy designer today, and people might meme on me for it, but I'm going to say it anyway. AI. ChatGPT 5 or Grok 4 Heavy, or even the new Gemini 2.5. I mean, right now, Grok 4 Heavy, I mean, from what Elon is saying, and I use Grok 4 personally a lot because I feel like it knows Ashes of Creation the best. When I've tried to go and use ChatGPT or any other AI, I feel like it kind of takes generic MMO systems and says, oh, this is a system in Ashes. Grok doesn't do that. Grok literally knows and pulls up like the wiki and pulls up like very specific systems and how they work. But all you would need to do is just train a private model of every single recipe, the entire economic design template, which will take time because there's gonna be a lot of inputs. But I think currently right now, Grok 4 has a 2 million context window, which is insane. And literally just ask it to act as a lead economy designer and like quantify values, pump it full of, and you can ask it like, what do you need to fix our economy? What do you need to, like, these are our players' frustrations and concerns. These are things that we want to keep as developers for our back end. Like, you could literally have a lead economy designer tomorrow. Well, maybe not tomorrow, but like once you pump in all that information and train it, I mean, it could definitely work, you know, but I understand, you know, you need someone to actually work the system, right? So having an actual whole person that actually has the knowledge is definitely better. But I would say that if you have someone that knows AI and how to use AI very well, like, train a model to become like a temporary lead economy designer, because I'm telling you, to compute all the different values of the thousands of recipes that exist now between the anvils and the riverlands, and the values of all the vendor reagents, the processing fees, the scalability of going from one batch to a 250 batches, like all of this stuff, an AI can just do it like that. You know what I mean? You would need to have a week's worth of conversations and back and forths with a whole other person that knows economy, when an AI can probably just do it in an hour. You know what I'm trying to say? Like, so, I mean, I don't know, maybe it's a bad take, but I think AI currently is at a very scary spot of smarts. So
the time you spend in this game, right? We want you to have access to that, you know, sandbox of an
what if that's
economy
what got us into this in the first place?
Phase
If they were using like ChatGPT, which I know is a very popular AI, like I would say use Grok. Grok knows Ashes the best, personally. I've literally made whole ass classes, you know, like you know, what was the high sword? Like I've made classes, I've made augments using Grok. Like it knows Ashes extremely well. You just got to feed the proper information to it. Like that's all you need. It needs proper context. If it has proper context, it'll do it for you. That's what I mean. You need someone that actually knows AI pretty well. I mean, Intrepid, if you want to hire me, I'll do it for you. Like all I need is all the recipes, all the information. I'll pump it in there and, you know, we'll do it.
3 was the first stab at doing a significant amount of revamp to that. Obviously, we missed the mark, and that's okay to say. We are going to be doubling back and focusing. I mean, 2 entire teams have wiped clean the slate of their milestone deliverable to focus on this economy issue. So we are very dedicated right now to taking stock, taking account, inspecting.
Bro, are you telling me they took planning off of the lighting team to go do economy? Bro, what was the god in Ashes? Nolan? Nolan? Is his name Nolan? Norin? I don't know. May Norin save us. We'll have to wait and see.
The data and making the changes that are necessary to ensure that we land a positive update in this regard going forward. So, you know, how are we addressing it? Well, we want to make sure that we're obviously breadcrumbing players through their initial experience, that kind of golden path experience. And that should include, you know, some focus on, you know, early level gear progression that isn't entirely predicated on crafting requirement. Crafting is how you make the best shit in the game. It will.
Let me see. You should put a YouTube video together to show the community how to use that platform on how to get questions answered. Are you talking about Grok, or like what do you mean? I'm kind of confused on your question, but this line is that Steven. This line is the first time I think Steven admitted they missed the mark. No, he's admitted it before. With going into crunch, where they missed the deadline there, which he was really sad to having to extend the crunch time and everything like that. Planet Earth is working on my mounts that I can harvest rocks flowers while still mounted. Leave him be.
Continue to be the guiding pillar of how the best shit in the game gets introduced. But we missed the mark on some of the.
Bro, Esteban freaking subbed and I missed that? Wow. Brother, if you're still watching, dude, thank you so much. I am a shitty Twitch streamer and YouTuber. Thank you, man. Thank you.
Recipes that were reauthored and adjusted, and some of the drop rates, resource spawn rates, and quantity requirements, as well as obviously the bugs that we've had with, you know, unlocking certain crafting benches, tool access, and recipe requirements that were off a bit. So as I said, our focus now is to take stock of that, to understand the issue and address it with a comprehensive plan that leads to a November deliverable, which moves the economy in a forward, more positive intended direction.
Bro, if they can fix static node rarity, processing fees, quantity of materials, bro, if they took 2 teams out to help economy out, oh my god, dude, that makes me feel so much better. Darth Fettuccine, thank you so much for the follow, bro. Thank you. Hope you're enjoying the stream so far. Man, that makes me feel loads better, because I know my boy Corey, he working, man. Like he working to the bone. Fettuccine, thank you so much for the sub, bro. Thank you. Yeah, like I I am just so passionate about the econ team, man. Like I literally, I, I wish that I could be Corey's assistant. Like any way that I could help him, like, you know, just be like, hey, do you need this? Do you need something looked up? Do you need like, what do you need for me to help you do your job better? Like I would literally do it for free. Eraj, thank you so much for the follow or for the sub, bro. Thank you. No, thanks for the content. I appreciate you watching, brother. Thank you.
I know that was a lot, and hopefully everybody was following along. But if you have follow-up questions, you know, we'll try our best to address those.
And I just want to add to this, like, look, at the end of the day, when you are opting in to participate in this development at this phase, you should be doing so, and should is a very operative word here. I am usually not a fan of the word should.
Or just. He doesn't like either of those words.
I know. But what I would say is that the expectation, like level setting expectations, active development is going to incur unintended results. That is the byproduct of active development, and that's the reason for testing. That's why we test, right?
Absolutely.
Because as a design moves from paper to editor to a packaged build, each step of the way there is an opportunity.
Let me see. They got the hands full with econ for sure. Right now, from their live stream, we can tell they hear us and glad they're acting on it, because it's easy for a dev to say we hear you and do nothing, and do not do something. Yeah. No, again, I was a Blizzard boy, dude. I know exactly what the hell you mean. They like, oh, based on your feedback, we hear you. And no, you didn't, because your actions never changed. You know what I mean? So yeah, I really appreciate it. And again, just me saying, like, they stopped doing biomes. They focused on actual content, new content. They're fixing the economy. They took 2 teams off. Like, this is all like insanely good news. Like, all of these things, like, clearly they are pushing, you know, they are, you know, just rejiggering things, you know, team wise, and, oh, this person's going to go here. These people are going to go there. Like, it's all good. Like, again, I want this game to be successful. I want it to be like one of the big, like, if I could have a Mount Rushmore, like, you know, in 15, 20 years of, they say like, oh, what are like the best MMOs? I would love Ashes of Creation to be on that Mount Rushmore. I would love it. Like, I would, if, you know, we can talk about World of Warcraft, we can talk about EverQuest, you know, whatever other ones, right? We'll have like Final Fantasy 14. But I mean, again, I would just love Ashes of Creation just to be a contender. You know what I'm trying to say? I don't want Ashes of Creation to be an afterthought when people are like, oh yeah, that MMO did came out, right? Or that MMO, like, it did exist. You know, like, we're talking about like, you know, Chrono Odyssey, or we're talking about Quinfall, or we're talking about like, you know, these projects that literally come up and as quickly fall down. You know, I don't want that for Ashes. What are the biggest problems right now? I've been on a break. The biggest problems right now, I would say, are economy, static node rarity, being there, processing fees, crafting materials needed. Yeah, I would say like probably those are like the biggest issues, at least on the econ side of things. You know, people, you know, are saying there's like a lack of PvP. There's a lack of content overall. First time user experience is still really rough. Anvil's is, you know, more bare bones than it should be. So yeah, there's just, you know, a lot of that stuff is currently going on right now in the phase 3. It's top 4 for me right now, as is. I got burnt out living. No, yeah, dude, I'm telling you, like, I see so much potential from this game. You know what I'm saying? Like, I see like that diamond in the rough, right? I am very optimistic when it comes to this project, but there's a lot of things that, you know, realistically and critically, like, I have my feedback towards. Let me see, drops in economy not flowing together. Yeah, there's just a lot of things that are very much in friction and in competition with each other that shouldn't be. There should be a lot of like hand in hand, a lot of very symbiotic, it's like a flow, right? you would expect them to work, and right now they're not flowing. So right now they're fixing the pipes, you know, which is a great thing.
For bugs, misalignment, redesign requirements, not fun being had, whatever it is, it's an iterative process. It is a very creative and iterative process. Anybody that is sitting and thinking, man, this game has a busted ass economy, or these bugs aren't getting fixed, or, you know, whatever the deal may be, this is not the path for you as a gamer participating in development. That is perhaps not the path.
Yeah, come
The
back
path
when
might be
we're launched.
when the game is finished, because you're
Well, but how can you say that and then want to mark it? Like, you see what I'm saying? Like, you can't have both. You know what I mean? You can't have marketing and expect people to pay for something and have a product like that isn't at a point. Am I taking crazy pills? Like, you know what I'm trying to say? Like, it's, oh my God. Like, if we're not getting it, what makes you think that brand new people that have no investment are going to get it? You know what I'm saying? Like, if we're getting, you know, burnt out, or we're having our frustrations and our issues and stuff like that, and the solution is, oh, we'll just come back later, then why are we inviting new people? Like, I don't think I'm crazy with that statement.
your expectations are to play a finished game, and that's cool. Like, that's the vast majority of gamers out there. That is a totally normal sentiment. But what we're doing is inviting people to participate at a stage where bugs are high, balance is broken, and shit is unfinished. We're saying that. We're telling you this. We're openly saying, hey, expect this. And if you come back and you say, man, I didn't expect that, well, then there's a problem. So we need to make sure that we have people that are helping us to echo that knowledge, that are helping us to tell others about that, because it is important.
Yeah, I would just chime in and say, you know, Ashes, you know, we have multiple vectors of progression across every scale of gaming, you know, from the solo player through groups, through guilds, through settlement advancement. And so our efforts are really, you know, always looking at that holistically and trying to balance all of that together. But it's a complicated problem that, you know, for any game, for any MMO, and we're, you know, so we're constantly trying to push that needle forward, and there's a focused effort, like Steven said, on the design team to where we've brought a whole bunch of additional folks in to help move that needle for the game as it stands right now, and make sure that we're, again, you know, as
See, I completely agree. They want find these bugs in this very unfinished game, but don't give advice to fix the economy. Yeah, it's just very odd. See, I don't agree with that statement. It's different when the game is actively developed and when it's finished or when it's done. Yes, 100%. I just don't see new people giving you guys Intrepid the same slack, or any slack, especially if they're gonna have to pay. I don't. I like, I know you say that you need their feedback, right? Like, they're important too, but it's like, I think many of us that are giving feedback, at least I'll speak for myself, I always try to give feedback in as a first time person, like as someone who can try to reset my brain and play this game as to like because I'm going to make a series on like the Fatui system, and like just things like I'm going to go and play Ashes and show the flaws that I've heard people say and the things that I know exists as a first time user experience. You know, I've said this before on my stream. Do you know how many people go out of the gate in the Riverlands and start swinging a sword or flicking their wand and don't even realize that they can actually have a main hand or an off hand, or a main hand or a ranged weapon equipped? So they're literally like level 4 by the time someone tells them that, oh, I can actually have another weapon. So now they're off leveling 2 different weapons when they could have been leveling them simultaneously. You know what I mean? Like, that's not a good experience. That's very frustrating. And there's a lot of those little irky kind of things that are in Ashes of Creation, right? But I am doing that as someone who's been here for years. You know, I don't think you need someone like with a fresh perspective, because I really don't think they're going to give you more than what I have or what other people in the community has had as well.
This is always my focus, that we're set up for the future, because we know that, you know, we want a game
Sorry,
to
that's
last,
me.
and
Stupid headset.
So having all of this right is important.
Or the basic attack has
but also
combos.
having it
Exactly.
adjustable is important, and making sure that we have all of the knobs that we need in place, or you know, is still part of the process. Like we're not there yet. And so, you know, we're just, as we're discovering new things, we're making new adjustments, we're discovering new tools and new levers that we need to also develop. And then I'll also echo back to, you know, we talked about we are still looking for designers with economy experience, and so you know, I'll echo that one again. That's a need that we have on the team, that we have an open position for, that we've had for a while, and we're still actively looking for. So if you know anybody, send them our way.
Yeah, we have a principal economy design.
You see, also, but also to be pragmatic, even if these alpha issues alienate users at the end of the day, the alpha environment is a very useful tool for the devs that will only better the game. No, 100%. I mean, that's why I'm here. And that's why all of us are currently in chat here, playing, testing, right? Because we know this is providing very critical data for them to have now, rather than at launch when all these issues could have surfaced. Then it's too late then. You know, I've always said we don't need New World 2.0. We need to figure out all of these issues, the exploits, the dupes, the problems, the bugs now rather than later. So no, I completely agree with you.
Designer position up. So definitely send someone our way, or even if they're not principal level, they can still apply. You never know what'll happen. So please send them our way. intrepidstudios.com/careers. Then I'm going to kind of skip forward to recipes and craft, or not.
Oh, they're going to recipes and crafting.
Yes, recipes and crafting stations. Because I think you covered the other question here already through your previous answer. Some recipes like Dew Thread, Sanctus Skulker, and Apprenticeship Leatherworker are still missing or mismatched. Is a broader recipe pass or reorganization in progress? And then additionally, will region-specific issues like crafting station gaps or professional bottlenecks be addressed?
I can confirm that in the PTR, if you are a tailorer, you probably know that there were certain novice shirts that needed tier 2 materials to make a novice shirt, which does not make sense. That is now fixed. So there was like over 400 recipes that were fixed in this 0.16 patch. And so that was just like a small little sample of the shit that's actually fixed. So I hope, dear God, I hope that there's other shit that's also fixed as well. All right, brother. Thank you so much. Planning. We'll see you later. Thank you so much for hanging out, man. My main thing for me is even our leveling. For me, even over leveling is gearing out. I enjoy trying different styles of gear, but it feels so lacking, even though there are so many different types put in even now. Med set, for instance, drift wake would be a great set for me that I didn't learn about till I was 18. Well, right now, the thing that sucks about a lot of the medium sets is that they take a lot of the huntable items, and huntable items right now are so, first of all, the RNG to find them is rare, but then the added RNG of even getting the right rarity is very hard. So I feel like right now, the majority of stuff being crafted is either light or heavy. Like seriously, like the only time you'll see people in a mid set is because they got lucky from like a mob drop. Like that's it. So I think again, this is why I think gathering professions need to be limited, because there's a lot of people that I know that don't do, Jesus Christ. I'm sorry, chat. I'm just going to unplug it. Just keeps bothering me. I need to get a new headset personally. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff that is, very hard to make when it comes to the medium sets. And so I hope, you know, again, there's so much we got to figure out. It's like, okay, well, once this issue's fixed, then do we need to add more huntables within the area? Like, what do we do with the spawn rates? Like, you know, I feel like rarity too is I'm not going to say at a good spot for hunting, but you would be hard pressed to find an epic carcass from people. That is very, very, very rare, which is a great thing, which is good. I'm really sick and tired of this mindset of epic and legendary being the thing to get. Like, I don't need anything else. Just, it has to be epic or higher. Like, bro, like epic or higher, like that should be something we're striving for like 6 months into the game. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like people need to start getting comfortable having uncommon, rare, and heroic being like, oh my God, I got a heroic piece made. Like, that should be amazing for people. And I'm talking like once the rarity is gone, once the duplication shit's gone, like once there's things that you actually have to work towards, like an actual progression for gathering, like that's what my hope is. But I don't know how people are going to get adjusted, because I think people right now are just so epic and legendary mindseted. It's going to be such a very quick shift in the other direction. This is another reason why I want to wipe, to be honest with you, because I feel like there's so many people that I've seen screenshots of players literally all in legendary. I am not even exaggerating. All in legendary. Was that legit or not? I don't know. But we all know that there's people RMTing. We do know that there were people that definitely benefited from the mob drops whenever that was active, right? So whenever there was like a couple of days where they buffed the hell out of mob drops, there was many groups that took part in that, got that gear, and were set. So I don't know. Like I feel like having a wipe of that, and I think a lot of people that are advocating to not wipe, it's because they have that gear and they know how precious it is. That was because of the static spawns. Well, it was the static spawns, but also the mob drops as well. Also, who's for gear destruction, wear and tear? Honestly, this is my thing. I think gear destruction should be a thing for novice and apprentice gear. Basically, what I think should happen is novice gear should feel very temporary. Like if you die like I wouldn't say once, but like let's say like 3 or 4 times in novice gear, it deletes itself. Like, because it's novice, it's if you think about it in the sense of a crafting perspective, novice gear should feel like a Temu version of a purse. Are you expecting a Temu version of a purse to last you a long time? Probably not, right? You want stuff to fit within the grade level, right? To fit within your actual predicated level, like a 1 through 10. But that stuff is meant to be kind of like very, you know, I'm not going to say wishy-washy, but it's not meant to be the best, right? So again, you only lose durability when you die. But I like the fact that if you die with with a novice or apprentice gear, that you actually could have the chance of it just being gone. And I think once you get up to the point of journeyman, then journeyman through grandmaster stuff would not delete itself. It wouldn't break, so to speak, but it would lose 0 durability, which provides you 0 stats. But you have the ability from journeyman stuff and higher to repair it. Not saying that you don't have the ability to repair novice or apprentice gear. I would say you can. But if you're, let's say, in a grind spot, right, like at a certain POI, and you're constantly dying, there should be some ramifications of like, hey, we need to get out of here because my gear is going to delete, and then I'll be shit out of luck, right? So it's like, I think having that kind of caution and, just the amount of organization you probably need to have at the lower levels, because you know that your gear isn't permanent, would actually be more of a risk and reward kind of thing. But I mean, we'd have to basically balance that, right? Like, that doesn't exist in the game. However, we're just kind of we're just shooting the shit with talking about that. Let me see, 10,000% no wipe fresh /fresh server until static rarity is out of the game. It would just jack up another econ within days. Yeah, I completely agree with you. I am not advocating for a wipe just because. Again, I wrote a whole Reddit post about this, about wiping in November, only if certain predicates were resolved and fixed. If those things aren't resolved and fixed, there is literally no point in wiping. There's 0 point in wiping. But I am an advocate of it if shit is fixed. My problem is endgame for a living economy. What happens when everyone is geared out? Weapon and armor smiths only become repair people. Well, and I think that's going to be something we're going to figure out once we start testing the endgame stuff, right? Like, what is going to be the loop of endgame gear? What is going to be the repair situation? What's going to be, you know, the gearing situation, right? Because let's be honest, like in a lot of MMOs, when it comes to endgame, like once you make the crafted gear, well, it becomes sort of like, well, I don't need to make it again. Like it's done, right? Like I made the piece like that. And I feel like accomplishments like that should be something that stays with you, right? Because again, once expansions come out or even patches come out, right, there's going to be other chase gear you're going to want to get. I think it's fine to live in an era where, hey, I don't need to make any gear. But of course, there's all different walks of life. There's people playing the game at different levels. There's people trying out the game for the first time. I feel like armor smiths and weaponsmiths will be okay because it's okay in every end game for a lot of other MMOs. So I don't think Ashes would be basically any different.
To improve mid-tier progression. I think you touched on that already.
Yeah, both of those I talked a little bit about. Like I said, 2 whole teams have now been dedicated this milestone to reflecting, taking stock, and addressing those issues.
How do I feel about the new player experience with that idea? Well, again, I think the thing that you kind of need to hit with people right off the gate is that this MMO is going to be very different compared to a lot of the other MMOs out there. So again, I'm not saying that, you know, gear destruction for novice and apprentice gear should be very, you know, like you die once, your gear's deleted, right? Like, no, I don't think it should be like that. But I think if it's not something properly maintained, right? Like if you go too long, like sometimes, like I feel like with not only XP debt, right? When you die and you wipe, you lose experience, whether it's like 1% to 3% of your experience. But if there was that added, I don't want to, like, I need to go to town to repair my gear because if I don't repair my gear, then you know, it's going to delete. Like, I feel like that's just something that, you know, increases the risk, right? And it actually makes stuff a little bit better because sometimes at POIs, like people just stick there and stay there. And, you know, I feel like to get people moving and to get people like, and again, if you're very efficient, of course, stay there, right? Like if your group's not dying, you're wrecking shop. Okay, we'll reap the benefits of that. But if your group is there and you're constantly wiping and stuff like that, it's going to be like, maybe we should go somewhere else. Maybe this is too hard. Maybe, you know, this group is bothering us. Like, should we want to fight them along with the NPCs here? Right. Like it calls into question like tactics. Right. And I think that's what Steven in the game is all about. Right. It's like, you know, it's not just battering your head through a wall, which is what a lot of MMOs do. Let me see, static rarity being back must be a technical thing. No way they think that's intended game design. No, I'm pretty sure that being back was like a bug, like 100%. Didn't Steven say in this interview that that it was back because of the clustering? Like, wasn't that didn't he say that? Yeah, it was a cluster bug. Yeah. When everyone is geared out, people will always level alts. Crafting will always be viable in the living world. Yeah, 100%. Completely agree with you. I, for one, am a definite altaholic. I love to play. Like, I'll love to play my main class, but I love to dive into other classes. That's just how I am. It's just something I love to do.
It's not going to come quick. It's going to come over a period of time. And the hope is that by November, we will have moved the economy in a direction that is far more positive than where it has been at the start of phase 3 or 2.5.
And I know the community will kill me if I don't cover this one, which is gather rules and node rarity. When will we see static rarity gather rules be removed? And how is the team reworking them based on the community concerns?
That I did hear.
Additionally, how is the team handling situations where rare node qualities exposed through visuals, pop-in behavior, or UI overlays?
Because I remember my daughter was talking and then she mentioned static rarity. I was like, I was like, I need to hear this. I was like, I need to hear this.
For interaction.
So on the first point, the static rarity issue. So we did remove static rarity from a section of the harvestables back. I think it was in like phase 2, based on feedback then. What had happened was when we introduced the clustering, which was a unique feature for gatherables, that kind of created, these clustered areas. It used the old tech of predetermined rarity locations. That has now been brought up to the top of the attention of the economy engineering team. They will be addressing that hopefully within the next release, if not the release thereafter, where it will be random roll chance for clustering. So not everything has the current
Random roll chance for clustering. So they're still going to have the clusters, but it's going to, I hope that's also predicated on the rarity stat, because in Ashes of Creation, there's actually a rarity stat. And I feel like based upon your tool, your shirt, and I think that's it. Node buffs, pylons, I think are another thing that can influence rarity. There should be things that, again, and this is also what fixed bag space issues as well. Bag space right now is atrocious because you basically can get 6 different versions of a rarity of a single material. That's insane. But if the majority of the shit you were getting with the crude tool and no apprentice shirt was just common and uncommon, that would make bag space way more manageable. But you all need to figure out like what breakpoints rarity should be. You know what I mean? Like once I get this rarity, like if once I let's just make an example of like once I hit 100 rarity, now I have commons and uncommons and rares. Once I get to like 150 to 200 rarity, then I have the chance for heroics to drop, right? Like y'all need to figure that out. So that way we know going into it that there is a clear progression path of each bracket, right? Because you can't wear in novice, you can't wear pants and you can't wear a belt, right? So you got to keep that in mind. So you basically will only have your tool that may provide you rarity, and you have your shirt that could provide you rarity as well. And that's on top of like pylons or node buffs or even potentially anything that an alchemist could make that maybe could buff rarity even further. So that all needs to kind of play into it. So that way there's a clear progression path of rarity. Again, I'm all for having a node have like potentially like a 5% chance higher rarity that's still predicated off of your stats, right? But to me, your stats should matter the most, right? What rarity tool you have, and what rarity shirt you have, and the other buffs that you have. That should matter the most. Let me see. I had a question for you. Something of concern to me. So Intrepid is still seeking a principal economy designer. So my question is basically how much progress can they make on their economy now if they eventually hire an expert on designing a functional economy, and they may need to totally reevaluate the direction they are making progress on now? Yeah, that's a very good question. If a person that comes in that knows what they're talking about has a very good grip on the economy and there are critical flaws in their design, that has to be addressed. And now Steven or the team could be like, well, we don't have the time or we can't do that. Well, then they're going to have to face the ramifications of like, well, if these particular designs do not change, this will be the outcome of that. Are you good with that? Right? So, because again, when you're developing, right, anything that has to go through a reiteration, that's more money, right? That means that some other feature or some other thing is not being reiterated or fixed, or not fixed, but like some new system isn't being worked on that needs to be worked on for the deliverables of the actual launched game. And we're having to go back. And if that wasn't properly accounted for, that's like a management issue. That's like a money issue. There's like a lot of factors that go into that, but they may have to, again, like if they have the expertise of someone that knows what they're talking about and there's something critically wrong with the way their economy is designed, it has to be changed as soon as possible. Right? I don't want something dysfunctional in the economy. I don't think they do either. Let me see. Basically, they probably implemented a layer of a system that clusters the nodes and causes to create those nodes with static rarities, so that module just needs to be updated. Potentially, I just don't like the idea of what I basically want is that if I have a crew tool with no apprentice shirt and I have, just, standard stuff, I go to a node, like a mining node. Let's say I'm for sure going to get a common, but my buddy has a rare pickaxe. He has a rare shirt on. He's going to hit that node. It's going to be a rare because of his rarity level, right? Like that's what I want. I want there to be different outcomes based off of the shit you have on your tune for the same node. What I don't want is I get it. It's rare. This other person that has better tools than me, guess what? It's still rare. Like, it's like, that's, basically static node rarity to me. Like, no one wants that. I lost the game. How did you lose the game? What game did you lose? I want a gameplay mechanic for higher rarity chance then. Here's randomly, this spot is better. Well, and again, I think they can do something like that, right? Remember like the light daffodils? Like we knew if there was a light daffodil, that's an uncommon or higher. So you always, at least if you're a herbalist like me, you sought out the different colors because you know it was going to produce a higher rarity. I am personally fine with having certain nodes give you a higher percentage chance, but it's still determined on your level. As an example, if I go with the crew tool and no apprentice shirt, I hit it, but because it has a higher rarity chance, I have a 70% chance for it to hit uncommon, but I can still hit a common with it. Now, this other friend of mine has an epic tool and a rare shirt. Now he, when he hits it, has like a 70% chance to hit like an epic, but he can also have like the 40 or 30% chance to hit a heroic. You know what I mean? Like that's what I want. Like I want stuff to, give you like a higher chance at. But the other thing is that I kind of don't want the visualization. Personally, like I don't want the visualization when it comes to like the just being out in the world. Where I do want visualization when it comes to gatherables is events. If there is a lawless area, if there is a harvestable event, if there's things that predicate like the different nature of things, then that's where I want those things to exist. I just don't want them innately existing out in the world. Like, oh, I see. Because again, I like the fact that they made it kind of even. Like every gatherable is going to be the same color, the same thing. It is what it is. But I don't mind when there's certain predicated events that actually could change your gameplay up and produce higher rarity being in higher stake situations. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't mind that at all. The same way whenever you go into like Ursine Caves, there should be actual zinc and copper nodes in there that produce like, when you hit that zinc or copper node, it should give you like 15, so that way it's like, it's not just a basalt or granite node, it's an actual copper node. And that those don't innately exist in other places. And it actually yields you more materials. Now it's still predicated off of your stats, but again, if there's an event or anything that predicates something, how kind of like when you're in a lawless area and you have the NPC shimmering gold, it could be like that for materials in the area too.
Static rarities, it is really just the cluster node resources, I understand, that are placed that have that, and it is
Bells at night. Yes, 100% agree with you.
Team handling situations where where rare node quality is exposed through visuals. So that is actively being worked on. We raised that concern as a high severity bug. That is something that UI will be addressing. It got manifested when we introduced some additional interactable tech for multi-interact nodes. And as a result, there was a different piping used for some of the displays that should be addressed shortly. So we are on top of that as well.
Good.
And then moving on to anvils and solo versus group gameplay. So the first one here is the anvil zone has felt a little underwhelming sometimes to some players. Missing recipes, fewer POIs, and broken progression loops. Are there improvements underway to bring it up to parity with the other regions? And I know we set that expectation when we came into it. We let people know anvils will not be on the same level as Riverlands and so on. But folks are curious when it will be and when the issues that are currently affecting like the progression elements of it, like broken quest and recipes, will be resolved.
So the anvil's glow up is not going to be part of this milestone, other than I think a couple of points of interest that might be targeted for November. It will be something that we are going to continue developing, right? Starter zones have a little bit more need.
Bro, Neo, whenever I went in the PTR, like this was before phase 3 even launched, I went because Planet asked me, he's like, dude, can you go in the anvils and give me some feedback as to like the lighting or like how you think the first time user experience is or whatever. Bro, I played it for like 30 minutes and I was over it. I told Planet, I was like, you really want to know my opinion? I gave it to him. Like the lighting was terrible then, but yeah, my whole experience of it was not good. And it really didn't get any better come the start of phase 3 either. The lighting of course got better, but I'm just talking the actual experience. And I feel like it's going to take some real care to elevate that zone to the level of the Riverlands, which I'm not saying the Riverlands like amazing. Riverlands has its issues too, but definitely not as many as the as the anvils for sure.
Than some of the other zones that we've been developing, right? We want to make sure that we're building outward from the starting experience with regards to content, POIs, and whatnot. We've taken a focus to introduce the story arc as we've gone through the description of this live stream for Sand Squall, June Dark, and Turquoise, and Anvils will.
This game never coming out at this rate, bro. If you were here watching earlier, we were talking about the game going into beta next year. This game could be coming out sooner than you think, brother. I hope not, but the tinfoil hat theories that Chat and others were saying earlier, the videos that I've seen, I hope I'm wrong, but you know, we'll have to see. Is it max level supposed to be 50? Yes, it is. And we have yet to even test beyond level 25. So maybe we can start testing level 30 by early next year, you know, or 35. But yeah, we still are some ways out for sure.
Get some additional attention come next milestone and the milestones thereafter. As Margaret said, we did obviously make very clear that the initial debut of the anvils was not going to be on par with the Riverlands. It was going to be more on par with Sand Squall, June Dark, and Turquoise as it relates to the available content, pathing, and points of interest. But that's something that's going to be continually developed as we move forward.
And that's what I didn't understand about then why have it available? Like, I think it's fine that the June Dark, the Sand Squall Desert, and the Turquoise Sea and the desert wasn't the same level of the Riverlands because those biomes aren't a starting experience. The anvils is. I don't know why. And again, because I don't know why you guys would launch a starting experience that you knew was going to be an unsatisfactory experience. Like what could you test from that? I don't know. Like I'm literally trying to think of like what they could have been looking for, other than just creating a frustrating. Because dude, all the people that chose to go in the anvils day one of dude, all of them were coming to the Riverlands. It was crazy. There were so many rams in the Riverlands. It was, at least for me, when I was seeing, I was like, oh my god, are all these people from the anvils? Like, what the heck? But yeah, it feels bad. You November testers who chose the wrong starting area. Yeah, I know. That's what I mean, dude. If it's still not going to be touched up in November, I feel like it shouldn't even be an option to start. You know what I'm trying to say? Like, it shouldn't even be an area to go into. I don't know, man. It's just, scares me. Well, you opened it up so it can be bug tested. Yeah, I mean, I guess like all of the things that are there, like the sweat of your brow equivalent quest, or the, which I think that version of the Envils is terrible. Oh my god. I don't know who crafted the quests that give you your mount and give you your tools, but man, it's I don't know. Like I there's so much they need to do over there just in that acquisition, just the acquisition quest of your gathering tools and your mount alone just needs work, man.
And then the last one here is,
And
given
Patro,
the
thank you so much for the follow.
grind-heavy
Thank you, thank
artisanship
you.
system, is anything being done to better support gameplay in Anvils and reduce the feeling that solo gathering is the only viable path?
Yeah, I think that that relates to what I just basically
Yeah.
said, which is that, you know, as we continue to develop the zone, those things will become more viable. Yeah.
You see options are larger server mesh, topology testing, additional spawn point in world, overall systems checking in for 2 initial points. I can see that. I just feel like to give like a substandard starting experience that then they would have to flock to a better starting experience, I don't think is conducive for just a good testing. Like from, and again, I feel like the experience of the tester never really gets called into like, hey, are you okay? You know, are you getting frustrated? It's more so like, we need you to be frustrated because we're doing something on our end. Like we need to figure this out on our end. Right. And this is kind of like, again, the realities of being a tester. And, you know, it's like my buddy, like he literally went to school to be a game tester, just to be finally get the position of being a game tester, to quit 2 years later because it wasn't what he thought game testing was. I think a lot of people have a very, like, at least, you know, I think we all, if you're a gamer, you always kind of fantasize like, oh my God, it would be amazing to be a game tester. Right. And my buddy actually did it. And he couldn't even come home to game. Like he was just so burnt out. Like it's just, you know, because testing just really frustrates you. Especially when you're forced to do it 8 hours a day, you know, like no one's forcing you to play Ashes. Like you're doing this all on your free will. But imagine if you had to, because it was your job to. That is the difference. Guys, I'm probably going to go ahead and go. It's getting late for me. I am super tired. I didn't even plan on streaming for almost 3 hours, but you know, this live stream there was so much information. I still have to go back. I'm probably just going to rewatch the whole live stream tomorrow. But I really appreciate all the new people that came in for the first time chatters. If you subbed, if you followed today, thank you all so much. Like I said, I stream. I'm going to be streaming now. Like I used to stream every Friday. It'll be at 7:30 p.m. Central. So if you want to come hang out with me, talk Ashes, talk systems, usually I play Ashes of Creation, but you know, I'm tired. And this live stream today was just like crazy. It was like this was a really good live stream, by the way. The Harbingers update, I'm so psyched about. It's going to be amazing. Hopefully, fingers crossed. But yes, if you, I usually stream on Twitch and on YouTube. So if you have YouTube Premium, please go watch me on YouTube Premium, because then you'll have to experience ads. But hey, if you want to give out a sub while you're on Twitch, I'm definitely, you know, grateful for it. But yeah, other than that, I will have another video probably next week talking about some stuff. So yeah, it's gonna be interesting. But thank you guys so much. Let me see who's currently streaming in the Ashes category. See, there's Dusty, there's Grenton. Some people I've never even heard of. See, I usually raid Dusty, but I'm gonna raid someone else. I mean, he's definitely has enough viewers. Let's see. I don't know who Grinton is. Let's go raid him. All right. You guys have a good